right, Marlon Browne, what's up, baby? How's it going, man?
Good. Everything's good.
All right, man. So let me bring up the topic list here. We're recording. We're live. No drop frames. Everything seems to be good. All right, man. Let's do one of your topics first, man. Want to kick it? You know what? You want to kick it off with your video just for some context as an introduction?
Sure. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Folks will know why I was interested in bringing you in. Yeah, man, your video, dude. You had some fucking balls, man. I was like, the balls on this fucking guy. Shoot me the. Oh, never mind. Here it is, right here.
Yeah, I should have it.
I thought I was ready. All right.
I remember telling you people, when white people get fed up, they're gonna fight back. And when they fight back, it won't be pretty. You don't want to call them racist and want to call them every name under God's green earth. That kid in Kenosha is just the start. They're gonna get fed up. And when they get fed up, they outnumber you. Do not forget that it was people like this that stood up to the British. And they had an army. And these were just villagers who were fed up. You can only push the American people around so much, BLM. I would not like to be you in a couple of months if you keep this crap up. Ooh, it's gonna be bad. You think a blown bicep with a bullet is bad. You think one person shot in the stomach is bad. You think losing your cap is bad. Wait until every last one of you gets put down. I'm just gonna sit on the sidelines with my popcorn and watch. I might join in, but I will definitely be watching. I might even put on Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, because this is gonna be good. We tried to warn you. Do not push the American around. True patriots will stand up, and when they stand up, you go down. The British learned the hard way, and I guess y'all stubborn morons need to learn the same way. You step on the wrong porch with this, raise your fist for BLM. Oh, he gonna raise something. He will be raising something to you. Yes, sounds like pew pew. And you'll be getting more than a few.
All right, guys, that's Mr. Marlon Browne. All right, man, introduce yourself, man.
Well, I'm right now a current resident in Washington State. We have quite a governor guy. Anyhow, but thankfully we're on the dry side, so it's a lot better. Always. But I've been here since 2000. Family here and stuff, so it's been good. Pretty good. I don't mind raising a family here at all. I have 5 kids, 3 stepsons, and 2 of my own, and a former electrician. So trying to go back and start back up the gym and self-defense, because Antifa's getting out of hand. So people need to know, protect them, and trying to help folks do that.
Hey, real quick.
Case in a nutshell.
If you have the stream going, pause it. I think it's taking some of your bandwidth away. You were lagging a little bit.
I'm not.
Got them kids on your Wi-Fi, bro.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not even on it. I'm just on data. So.
Oh, okay. Right on.
If I went on Wi-Fi, I'll be better off. Yeah, so that's my story right now. Just trying to make it through this rat race, watching the chaos ensue, and make sure that people that I know don't get caught in.
So how many views did that video of yours get before Facebook took it down?
Well, the thing about it, Facebook took it down for a day and appealed it, and quite a few other folks got involved in it too. And because of another strike that I got, that I appealed that too, and they ended up taking away all of my strikes. So I'm like a brand new baby boy right now.
Yeah, man, they completely disabled my page.
Yeah, they took everything off of mine, and now I'm back to being perfect, squared, no 3-day ban. They put the video back up with the original views. So it has now, I think, 1,100,000 or something like that.
Man, I don't have any content that has that many views. And the video that I seen, when I first seen that video, I think it was at like 5,000 views. And then when you finally had reached out to me, I messaged you. When you finally had reached out to me, it had already hit 1 million. I think I seen the video the day you posted it. And man, I ain't gonna lie, dude. When you posted it, I was like, the balls on this fucking guy. Like, I knew right when you shared that video and I seen it, I knew that all the talking heads were gonna come after you. I just knew it. I knew it, man. And you're not the only black American out there that's talking like that, brother. There's a lot of you.
No, I'm not.
There's a lot of you out there talking like that. Y'all are tired. I feel like that y'all are misrepresented. Black Lives Matter and the political talking heads on the left. A lot of these, I guess you could say, black celebrities pretend to speak for black Americans when they're so far out of reach from your average black American. It's not even funny.
Yeah. Because they get lost in their own shadow. You know, they see it growing, and they think that's what encompasses everybody. And the left gives them that platform. And I keep telling people it's all a mind game. They're trying to keep black people in their emotions, keep everyone in their emotions so they don't think logically. And once you don't think logically, then you're more prone to do dumb stuff. That's what they're trying to keep us. It's that frenzied piranha type mindset. And it's unfortunate that people fall for it. It's what it is at this point. I can't really you can give them information, but if you don't listen, information means nothing.
Yeah, man. So what fueled your fire? What happened that motivated you to go live? It looks like you're coming home from work, and
No. I've been putting up videos for a while, okay, and I didn't think this one was going to go anywhere because none of my videos go anywhere.
All it takes is one.
This was the most inconsequential one of all, too, because I was sitting waiting on my wife. She went in to get adjusted at the chiropractor. And then this Kyle Rittenhouse thing floated across my Facebook feed. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And sure enough, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this out there on my page, not to go public or anything. And I was just speaking out of where I was feeling it, put it up. 2 minutes long. I didn't think anything of it. And then someone said, you should make this so I can share it. I was like, all right, fine. So I changed it to public. And by the end of the day, I was like, wow, this is at 400 views. That's pretty good. By the next day, it was at 2K. I was like, what? Okay, that's interesting. 4 days later, it's at 10,000. I'm like, okay, I can't stop this now. That's okay. It'll stop soon. And then someone texted me, said, someone used your video on this show. Someone used your video on Gavin McGinnis. Someone used your video on Newsmax. I was like, what? Before I knew it was at 1 million views. I mean, it wasn't something I went out saying, I'm going to get public. I wasn't planning on that one to be it.
Yeah, it always seems one of our videos a trend, and you never expect it. I've had a couple trend up to like 75K. Well, I really don't know because they were being uploaded to so many different platforms. My original link to my video had like 75K, and it was crazy, man. My shit went live just because I was talking about punishing my son. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess you can't spank your kids in America anymore.
Do you wonder why we have what we have right now? It's because of that.
Yeah, we got our asses kicked. Well, I mean, you know how we are as fathers. We talk about punishing our sons. We say we kick our son's ass. Kicked his ass. Well, people took that a little too literally. But
as they do.
So some of the topics that we were talking about, which one did you? What do you want to kick off on first, man? You want to hop right into Kyle Rittenhouse and
let's jump right into riots, man. Let's just jump right into what these riots because that's part of what caused is the riots.
Free Kyle Rittenhouse. That's where I'm at on that, man. 100% self-defense.
Yeah. I mean, even if they charge him with anything, I can see the gun charge. That's about it. But even then, I'm like, you got people out there throwing rocks at cops and they're not getting arrested. I don't care what their age is. If you're going to arrest a dude for having a gun underage and you let the rest of them go, make it equal. Don't charge him for anything.
Yeah, so
that's just me.
My take on things, I went balls deep into that. Like, I was watching videos for days, and come to find out in Wisconsin, you only have to be 18 for short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns. At the age of 17, you can openly carry a long-barreled rifle or a long-barreled shotgun. So technically, he wasn't breaking the law.
And I told someone that. I told someone this, and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. I've talked to cops, and they say it was illegal. And I even showed them the article, the law section, where it actually says that exact same thing you said. And they're like, that's not true. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, they could say that all they want. The dude was literally out at this protest all day long, open carrying a rifle. And he's a babyface and was never stopped by police. So you think that he didn't have at least one encounter all day with a police officer?
Right.
We know he did. We know he had to have had one, and at least one encounter. So let's start with. I wish I would have got the guys' names. The first guy. This is how the story goes. Maybe you've heard different. He was trying to put out a fire that they had started in a dumpster, and it pissed some people off. And so this guy started chasing him. They went out of view in the camera, and witnesses say that the guy tried to disarm Kyle, and Kyle shot his weapon and shot that first guy. Now the first guy he had dealt with, luckily, he was a registered sex offender and needed to be put down anyways. The second guy was the guy with the skateboard. Hit him over the head with the skateboard, shot that guy in the chest, and then the third guy ran up to him with a pistol and he shot that guy in the arm. In all three cases, Kyle Rittenhouse was retreating and running, which is like textbook self-defense. Like, he didn't stand his ground. There's a lot of states out there with stand your ground laws where you don't have to run. Guy takes a swing at you, you draw your weapon, you shoot him, and you're good to go. This kid ran. At every instant, he used his weapon. He ran from that first guy, used his weapon. When that guy went down, it looked like he picked up his phone. I don't know if he called his friend or he called the police.
He called his friend. Dude, I just shot a guy.
And once he seen somebody rendering aid to him, he took off running. He tripped and fell and had to put two more guys down. And what's crazy, dude, his bail is $2 million. And last I heard, he's still in jail, dude.
Yeah, well, they took down his GoFundMe.
Yeah, they did.
They left up that moron's Blake's GoFundMe, but they took down Rittenhouse. Like, anyway.
Yeah, Jacob Blake. I'm glad you brought that up. That dude had a felony warrant for aggravated sexual assault. Mm-hmm. On a 14-year-old little girl. And the reason why the police were there is he was at their apartment and had a knife out, and they called the police. See, a lot of people
supposed to be there.
Yeah, a lot of people have it misconstrued that he was reaching for a knife that was in his vehicle. What a lot of people don't, he had one in his hand as he was walking to the vehicle. And the cops tried everything.
For another one. He was going for a different one. He was going for a different weapon in the car.
Yeah, I heard
he was going for.
I heard that he said that he was going for a gun, like he announced it. In my opinion of the Jacob Blake thing is it's straight up suicide by cop. That's how I look at it. Suicide by cop.
That's what he was looking for. He didn't get it. Paralyzed is lucky. He's lucky. That's all he got.
Man, and just imagine all these riots because of this dude. And on top of that, there's a 14-year-old girl sitting at home watching NFL players, basketball players,
celebrate him,
celebrate and honoring a dude that violently raped her. Like, where is it? Where are we at in America where we're celebrating violent rapist? And hey, nobody's even mentioned this 14-year-old's name. Where's her GoFundMe? You know what I mean? Where's her GoFundMe?
Nothing.
How many cities did they burn down over this guy?
This is and you see what you're treading on there is stuff we've been trying to herald for a long time in the black community, where the NFL will uphold these guys that beat women in the NFL. You'll hear them uphold people that rape people, drugs. They'll have violent tendencies, and they'll let them do what they got to do. They'll still pay them millions of dollars. So it's nothing new. It's not like this is, outside of the norm for them. This is normal. They don't ever hold any of these guys accountable. They ran Tim Tebow out of the NFL because he knelt down and he prayed. And you got guys out here that disrespect the flag, disrespect the honor of the soldiers past, and then they want to say, oh, that's not what I'm doing. They abuse their freedom. They have all these history of violence, and no one says anything. And you want to have us as patriots look at them and think, oh, yes, let's revere them too. No. That's not how this goes. That is not how this goes. We see right through it. It's absolute nonsense. It's ridiculous to me that that same thing with George Floyd. Everybody wants to hail him as to put up statues to this guy. And I'm like, are you guys retarded or something? Like, seriously, what is wrong with your brains? Like, is it not functioning? How can you look at a guy like that and tell me that he's innocent? He was high as hell on just about every drug he can think of, had a heart attack, and now you tell me the cops knees what did it. No, I'm sorry. These things just it just gets too ridiculous after a while. Way too ridiculous.
Yeah, man, and the saddest thing about it is, all right, what's I don't know why I'm having this brain fart. This basketball player that's always on the camera every time bad happens. Yeah, I got kids coming in and out of my bedroom too. It's okay. We're fathers. It's gonna happen. You saw me a few minutes ago doing this, trying to wave my kid out of here.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, you'll tell him, don't come back here. Okay. 5 minutes later, what are you doing here? Hi. No, not hi. Get out of here.
Yeah. Name. Come on, Toxic. Help me out. Big time basketball player.
Well, LeBron?
Is it him? Yeah, I think so, man. He always every time there's somebody,
that's simp. He's a simp. He's a simp, is what we call him.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
Simp.
All my black friends think that dude's a fool. Think he's an absolute fool. And what's even crazier is like how much FaceTime that he gets on social media with all of his followers and stuff. And it's crazy is a lot of his followers are just poor folk like us, sitting there gobbling up everything he says, and he doesn't represent anybody. He's not speaking for black people.
He can barely speak. What are you talking about? He can barely talk. Like, seriously. If anything, he's probably worth the price of the skin on the ball. That's about all I can put him at. Because he keeps wanting to say he wants to be in the same John and the same region as Jordan, the same realm as Jordan. Bro, you couldn't even tie Jordan's shoes. I don't know what you're talking about. Just because you can dribble a little bit, you still can't outdo Jordan.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, he had class and he had brains. This dude doesn't have either. So it's not like, he could speak properly. Jordan was well educated. Jordan took his job and his life seriously. He did something with himself. Not this fool. And everyone listens to him. He gets all the airtime. He's the doll of the NBA. It's insane to me that people like that get all the airtime. It's asinine, but I can't expect anything different. It's all owned by the left, so I keep expecting things to change, but there is no way for it to change because they planned it this way. They make it.
Yeah, he's
The voices that they push.
he's definitely a leftist puppet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My son brought me a 7.62 by 39 bullet. Where'd you get that? Kyle Rittenhouse, man, what's your expectations of this guy?
Well, he's got a good lawyer. That's good.
I thought he had I thought he had a couple of lawyers.
Oh yeah, he has the same lawyers that helped out Sandman, Nick Sandman, when he sued CNN. He has the same lawyers. So he's got some cutthroat sharks that he's got on his side. So I think he'll be all right. I think there's enough video evidence to justify the self-defense argument.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I understand why the kid's still in jail. I understand it's innocent until proven guilty.
It's politics.
He's being crucified. Politics, you're absolutely right. He's being crucified. He's being crucified.
I mean, they interviewed Blake on his.
Sorry.
That's okay. Like you said, we're dads. They interviewed that Blake dude on his bed, showing him like he's some kind of victim. And they still haven't had one person go out and talk to Kyle to hear his side of the story. He had to get it out his own way. And that to me is insane. I mean, he has two things going against him. Okay, he was there to protect property, and he's white.
Well, and there's also the pictures of him scrubbing the high school.
Yeah, they won't count that. Like I said, that'll just be he's just trying to look for sympathy.
But there's also a video of him punching a girl. That doesn't help him at all either. Well, it definitely makes him look a little bad, but at the same time, it can't be used in court because it has nothing to do with the case. And also, to be fair, he's just a punk fucking kid. It's not gonna be the dumbest thing he does before he's 25. Shit, I haven't
seen that video. I'd like to see that video and find out what the context is.
There is no context. It's some guy sitting in a vehicle recording the whole ordeal. And at first I didn't think it was him, but he's wearing these red, white, and blue flip-flops in multiple pictures, and he's wearing them there. So it definitely. Well, there's somebody in my chat saying that it is not Kyle, that it is bullshit. I really don't know. I think it may be, but at the same time, it doesn't matter to me. I still think the kid shouldn't be charged, and I still think the kid handled himself better than most grown folk do. He went to Wisconsin. He helped clean up graffiti. The business owner asked him and that crew to be there. If you've seen the first video where he's talking to a journalist, he literally there was a whole team of people on the roof of that business that he had called Overwatch, and he brought a med kit with him and stuff, and he was literally there to do what all patriots talk about doing. Love you.
Yeah, the Daily Caller, when they interviewed him, he had just left there to go and help someone, one of the writers actually. So it wasn't even like he was causing a scene before that. And the first guy he shot was in his face prior to the bins being lit on fire. The N-word, screaming at him to shoot me, right? And but when I watched the video, and if you listen to the audio of it, Kyle, I think, fired 2 shots. One struck him, 2 struck him. And there were shots from a different portion of that area that came from a car.
A pistol. There was see, the first time I watched the video, I was unsure. I heard 2 rifle shots, and then I heard smaller arms
almost
go
4
off.
of them. Yeah.
But I never really spoke about it because of where they were located. I couldn't tell if it was an echo. I couldn't tell if it was a shitty mic. But that Daily Caller guy is one of the number one witnesses in this whole case, because he actually he witnessed the whole thing. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the Daily Caller guy that rendered immediate aid to that guy he shot, I think. Mm-hmm. He was right there when it happened.
Before his partners took over and tried to hold him up, but he had multiple shots. It wasn't just the head shot didn't kill him. He got, I think, a perforated lung. His liver got hit too with a couple of shots. So it wasn't just he had three or four shots in him before.
Yeah,
he died. It wasn't just a headshot.
The wound that was on his head, it didn't really look like it had any. It looked like it was grazed, like he was grazed on the head. Had it penetrated his dome, that would have been lights out right then.
Yeah, that'd have been no head left.
I mean, you've seen what a 5.56 does at very close to an arm. You saw that guy's arm, man.
Yeah, it was mincemeat by the time he was leaving.
Yeah, 5.56 is no joke at that range. It does.
So
it does it does some significant damage close range. The percussion when it goes in you, it's like popping a water balloon inside of you. Mm-hmm. Pretty gross.
So I think with enough information, they should easily have to look for another shooter too, at the least. Of course they won't, because they never heard about it.
I think there was 3 shooters, man. I think there was 3 shooters.
Oh, okay.
Because one of the pictures, and I posted the picture on my social media, which I don't have access to anymore, where it shows 2 to 3 different guys with their pistols out. Now it shows 3 photos of 3 dudes with their pistols out by their sides in their hands. I want to say that it's only 2 of them. I think the third picture is this one of the guys, just a second photo, but I'm not positive. But I think that there was 3 shooters, one of them being Kyle. So there's a lot of shit going on. And the thing is there's enough video evidence to where I feel like they should release the guy. Now, that may or may not be a good idea to release Kyle right now. Like, I have a feeling some people are going to be gunning for that kid.
Looking for him. Well, and like I said, it's really a matter of getting everything else under control. They have just getting completely out of hand to the point where, and like I said in my video, people are going to start doing what Kyle might be the first one to fight back because he had to. The rest of the people are going to fight back because they need to. And they step out. If a kid like that could do that, truly armed men show up, it's going to get real ugly real fast for these people. And I don't think they get it. I don't think that they understand. It's not threatening nobody. No,
you're definitely
telling it.
You don't sound threatening. You're speaking reality. And the sad and dangerous thing about the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing is it really, really sucks that had to happen, because there's a bunch of fucking people out there that have been sitting on their couches wanting to do exactly what that Kyle kid did. And I think that he lit a fire and started something, and I hope that it doesn't trend, but I expect there to be more Kyle Rittenhouses if this rioting doesn't stop. But I also hope that everybody took this whole scenario as a lesson. You know what I mean? I hope that people see that these patriots, these guys trying to protect their businesses, aren't fucking playing around. Because I think that the kid is awoken a monster that they should all fear. I don't like it.
Well, I think the monster's been there, but if you notice where the riots are happening, it's all happening in areas that do not have a true patriot presence. They're not going out into rural Texas. They're not going out into the countryside or even the mom and pop areas. They're not doing it there. They know better than to do that. They're not stupid people. Well, they're going where they know that they can be seen by the press, where they can get away with it, where they know there's not a huge gun presence and people are not going to fight back.
Portland,
where there are weaker people.
Washington,
weaker people. California.
Yeah, they bust in 3 or 4 buses. I want to say, I don't know if it was Antifa or BLM.
It was Antifa and BLM.
But they bust in a bunch.
6 buses.
They bust in a bunch of people to Austin, but state troopers shut it the fuck down. There was a bunch of militia folks out there and patriots out there armed up, kitted up, and the state troopers came in there and shut it down super, super fast. I know some people living in Austin that were concerned and was thinking there was going to be a lot of rioting and burning. They tried that shit in Texas and it just didn't fucking fly. We don't have, even our leftist politicians here in Texas won't stand for that shit. They'll put on the pretty face and they'll pander when they're on screen, but when the rioting starts, they drop the hammer. And they have to drop the hammer in the state of Texas because
or else Texas will drop it for them.
Right, man. I don't know if you remember the storm Harvey, right? That came and hit Southeast Texas. The police didn't come. The EMS didn't come. The fire departments didn't come. You want to know who rescued Texans? Texans. Yeah. No, I'm not going to say that the police didn't help or the fire departments and EMS. They all helped, right? But they didn't help on the scale as citizens did within their community. Like where the police and first responders become overwhelmed, that's when Texans stand up and unite and come together and get the job done. So leftist politicians in the state of Texas, they know if that they fail the people by not stopping a riot or allowing too much damage to happen, the people that are going to stand up are the ones that don't have, like, you don't want armed patriots stopping a riot because there's no way for them to stop it without people getting hurt. Right? They're not police. They're not the military. They're not going to come in there on a blowhorn. They don't have the kind of equipment the police have. They don't have the kind of equipment the military have. They're not going to be able to sit there and tell them, hold your line, stand up, back up. You can't go down the street. You have to leave. This is an illegal assembly. That's not how it works. What you have is business owners asking local patriots and militia groups to protect their businesses. And once in the state of Texas, if you own a business and you give me permission and put me on the roof of your business and somebody comes up and starts trying to vandalize it, we have stand your ground laws. I could put one in your ass to stop you from damaging the business. And that's the reason why even leftist politicians will put a absolute stop to a riot. I'm not saying that it can't happen to Texas and it won't happen to Texas, but when they bust down Antifa and Black Lives Matter to Austin, state troopers shut it the fuck down, like super fast. They did a really good job.
My biggest issue with all that's going on is the hypocrisy of how they handle the illegality of what riot. Because they keep saying that these are just protesting. They're not protesting. They are complete anarchy. Destroy stuff that we remember growing up, if it's not yours, don't touch it. That whole mindset. If it ain't yours, don't touch it. You can go protest all you want on the street corners in a public area. Feel free to do that. The instant you decide that you're going to be man enough to touch something of mine that I didn't give you permission to touch, and not just touch it, but destroy it, you're asking me to take both of your hands from you. And I will take them from you.
I mean, well, yeah,
slap you with them. Okay.
You're basically taking a grown man that worked his ass off to get where he is, and you're putting his back against the wall. I mean, dude, our cars, our businesses, our houses are our livelihoods, and we got kids, you know. And to most people, a lot of ignorant folks in America, you're like, oh, well, these businesses are insured, or you can get a new car. But no, look, I live week to week.
Mine.
Most businesses are week to week and month to month, especially these restaurants and stuff. They make enough money to pay their employees and pay their fucking bills. It doesn't matter if you make $20 an hour. It doesn't matter if you make $50,000 a year or $250,000 a year as a restaurant owner. Your resources are tied up. All it takes is busting out the windows and a little mom and pop owned fucking restaurant to ruin, not necessarily set them back, to ruin them, man. They picked their worst time ever to start pulling all this shit. Yeah, COVID-19.
Oh, no. They didn't pick the wrong time. This, like I told you, dude, this was long.
Oh, yeah.
They were gonna have this riot, whether someone got shot or not. They were gonna have these riots.
All by design.
They were gonna have them.
That was something, that was a theory that I talked about with a bunch of friends and stuff, that I feel like all this was by design. At one point I was like, was the Floyd murder even real? Like, there was one point where I was questioning whether that even happened, because it just seemed like it was too perfect of a time, right? And then
too random of a circumstance,
and then all the videos of the riots, they were showing that there was pallets of bricks being placed everywhere, and they even showed a guy that was busting windows out that was an assumed police officer, and Dude, I think that the riots that kicked off, the first that kicked off with Floyd, I think that there was a lot of there was too much planning that went on for it to happen the way that it did, for it not to be planned. Like, it's kind of crazy that he died. That was some very unfortunate, fucked up situation. I can't remember how long that cop had his knee on the back of that dude's neck. Completely.
7 minutes 39 seconds.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up. I agree that dude should be punished. However, how quickly and organized the riots were was just baffling, and it's the reason why I was questioning the legitimacy of the whole fucking thing. I was like, all right, so the next fucking day there's pallets of bricks everywhere and there's buses being hauled into the fucking city. At the very least, the fucking riots were fucking fabricated and planned. Like, most of the people that are arrested at these riots are not, they're out of state. They're from out of state.
Here's the thing. I'm sure there were multiple cases they could have publicized to get these riots going. Okay. And may not all of them have it turned into, because remember, they had the Floyd, and then they had that other guy in front of Wendy's that got shot too. They were probably more likely oscillating through things to try and find one to promote. Floyd's case, I don't think they anticipated getting the amount of history lessons on Floyd that came out, because you haven't heard his name in forever now. I don't know if you've noticed that. You haven't heard his name. You haven't heard any of the people that the original cases. You haven't heard it.
Nah,
what you start hearing now is justice, justice, justice. They avoid the case at all costs because now so many things are coming out about the case that they can't really use the situation of the case to funnel their narrative. Because at first he was just an unarmed guy doing nothing. The lies were called on him. He didn't really do anything wrong. And they grabbed him. They beat him up, put him on the ground, pinned him there. He couldn't breathe. He stifled on the ground with the knee. Then when they start seeing other videos show up, then the toxicology report came back. And the dude was higher than a kite. And then you have him going into cardiac arrest because of his drug use.
Yeah, they were saying he died of an overdose.
He did because he had a fentanyl level that was already fatal. And I don't know if you saw the other videos of him talking to the cops. Because when they pulled him out of the car, before they even pulled him out, when they first got to him, he was already paranoid about things. He was kind of just bobbing his head at the wheel, and he was saying how he didn't want to get shot. Don't shoot me, man. Don't shoot me, man. And they're like, we're not going to shoot you, dude. We're just trying to find out what happened. And he just kept, he was just agitated from the get-go. And as soon as they tell him, okay, well, just step out the car so we can have this car. Man, I don't want to get shot, man. I can't breathe, man. I can't breathe. He instantly said he couldn't breathe. The instant he got touched, he couldn't breathe. And then he was a claustrophobic, but the car they were going to put him in was bigger than the car they took him out of. Okay? They pulled him out the car, and he kept saying the whole time, I can't breathe, man, don't shoot me, man, don't shoot me, I don't want to die, don't shoot me. And they kept telling him, dude, just calm down, we're not trying to, literally, this is how they're talking, we're not going to shoot you. I don't know why you think we're going to shoot you, we're just trying to get to the bottom of this. So they put him to the car, they have him outside, and they're trying to put him in, and he's fighting them to get in the car. He says, I can't fit in there, man. I can't fit in. I'm claustrophobic. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Then he says, just put me on the ground, man. Just put me on the ground. He literally tells them, just put me on the ground. Then he drops to the floor on his own. They're trying to pick him up. He drops again to the floor. Then he wrestles with them, and they drag him to the front of the car where we see the cell phone video start. And he's there. So him saying, I can't breathe was not because of the knee. The knee was not even in a position to choke him or stifle him. Just so we're clear. There was nowhere near his esophagus for the first 5 minutes of being held down.
Well,
the knee slipped off around 4 minutes in, and he couldn't breathe. And every time they tried to pick him up prior to, I just want to go back to the ground. And he fought them the entire time.
The one thing the one thing that I can say about that video with George Floyd is he wasn't necessarily in any corner choke off, but the guy's knee was on his jugular, which can
end after 4 minutes. At the end of 4 minutes.
Which, if that's basically like, you can't choke a motherfucker out by cutting off the circulation to their brain, like the jugular. As a matter of fact, a rear naked choke in jiu-jitsu, that's how you do it. You get this side of your arm and the inside of your bicep, and it pinches off the jugulars and will make a person pass out. Now, fentanyl and opiates, one of the side effects when you overdose or take too much of any opiate is breathing issues. So just being on the ground while you're overly dosed on any opiate is going to cause breathing issues, and then having a man on top of you is just going to make it even worse. Now, was that enough to kill anybody? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I do know that those police officers were in the wrong. I realized they had their hands full, but man, the whole situation's fucking unfortunate, because it's like you have a senior officer that has another officer with him that he's training, and so he has the Asian guy, I can't remember his name, his superior that's training him has his knee on this guy's neck with a crowd of people yelling at him, and all he can do is just back up his senior officer. Just back up his senior officer. I think that they should have put his ass in the fucking vehicle. I think they should have manhandled him. However they needed to manhandle him to get him into the vehicle, I think they should have done that. That's all past bygone. They're saying now that it was an overdose. So I don't fucking
realize, though. You do realize they did the same thing when they threw Freddie Gray in the back of the.
Yeah. I believe 100% that I believe 100% that George Floyd died from a combination of things. Drugs being 90% of the reason why he died.
It could have been easily avoided.
I mean, I guess you could come at it like this. You could say this. How long into the video when they had medical come? The EMS got there pretty fucking quick. They were on them for like 7 minutes. That's pretty fast. So I think the police officers called for an ambulance pretty quickly when they realized that the dude needed medical assistance. I don't think that the cops being on top of him are the main reason why he died. I think it has to do with fentanyl. Fentanyl is the fucking devil, man. It kills a lot of people in this fucking country. And I think it was a combination of things. I think that maybe he might have had a chance of life if he was stood up or sitting in a chair, because then he could have been able to breathe better. But man, I really don't know what his cause of death was. I hear so many things. I'm hearing that it was a drug overdose. I'm hearing that it was the knee on the neck. I really don't know what to believe. Well,
I really don't care what the cause of his death is. That might sound callous, but I don't care what the cause of his death is. Because people will look at this and everybody is avoiding the main issue in this whole thing. They just brush right past it because they're looking at, it's violence against, it's this and this and this, and it's always a social aspect to it, right? Because they want to push something. I can guarantee you an outcome if he had done one thing. George, not broken the law. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that I don't care what the situation was. You live a certain life, bro. Certain things follow you. People don't want to talk about this. I don't know why it is that they just feel like closing their eyes or their brains off to this information. The same thing with Blake. You live a certain life. And then when that life bites you, it's someone else's fault. No. And then they tell you, don't look at his past. He was trying to reform himself. Well, apparently not that well. Apparently he was not doing that well at reforming himself.
No, he had a felony fucking warrant for aggravated sexual assault on a fucking minor. Hey, real quick before we could, are you using your Wi-Fi or are you still using your data?
Wi-Fi now.
Okay. Your video's coming through strong, but your video sometimes lags a bit. I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We're gonna keep rolling.
Yeah. I live in a mindset that you reap what you sow. Okay. So people tell me, well, you just don't understand the struggle. I said, you're damn right. I don't understand the struggle because I don't put myself in that damn struggle. I'm not stupid. It's not like I didn't grow up poor. I grew up poor, but I didn't use poverty as a reason to go do dumb shit. I just didn't. I didn't say, oh, because I'm poor, I got to go rob people to make money. No. It's called going to school, finishing your education, and getting out of poverty the right way. Nobody wants to do that because it's harder work. You want the easy way. If I tell you you could go sell drugs and make $500 now, but for the rest of your life you'll be running, or you spend the next 5 years getting an education and you spend the rest of your life free, your option should be very, very quickly picked. I'll take the 5 years in school. No, instant gratification. We live in that world. I want it now. And then when the cops come for you and you want to run because you don't want to get arrested and you get shot, it's police violence. No, it's stupidity on your part. Do not blame the system that you live in because there are tons of them that make it out living the same way. I don't get why it's so difficult for people to get this through their heads. You make a certain choice in life, you yield the results of it, and then you blame external circumstances. It baffles me, man. I'm sorry, but I can't feel sorry for any of them when they get shot.
Man, I've had
the only person I feel bad for ever right now is Botham Jean. That's the only guy I could even remotely see. In terms of black men, I understood there were a couple of women that got shot. Well, I don't feel bad for Breonna Taylor either. She brought that shit on herself. But as far as the men goes, Botham Jean did not deserve to die. And she got punishment.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate with the Breonna Taylor thing. I stayed quiet about the Breonna Taylor thing because I wanted to wait until all the facts come out. So she had a boyfriend that had a felony warrant. I guess he was a drug dealer. And after everything came out, she wasn't with that guy anymore. She was with a new guy. And so a judge, and this is what I talked about on Facebook, when everybody wants to go after the cops in this situation, the judge signed a no-knock warrant raid. Okay?
Nope. You're wrong. You're wrong. And okay. I'm going to correct you on the facts so you have your facts straight, so when you tell it, now you can actually side with me on this. Have you read the case files?
I read that the boyfriend shot through the door.
No. Have you read they released the case files, the legit case files, all the police reports, court papers, all of it. 50-page release.
Nope, didn't read it. I read some of it.
It's insane. It is insane. She ran the trap house with these guys. Okay? The issue that they did, that warrant they issued was for her, not him, her. And it was not a no-knock. They knocked 4 times. She answered. The guy answered. They were not in the bedroom, chilling, sleeping. They were watching a movie. They knew who were at the door. They fired first. The bullets went through. She got hit. She was in the kitchen when they found her. They wanted her because the car that she used was found and had a dead body, a dead body in it. That's why they were looking for her. Multiple phone calls of her to the jail where the guy was about what the next steps would be. I mean, it is insane how deep she was into this thing. She was not just a girlfriend. She was involved. She was involved.
Yeah, I didn't know about all that.
It is sick. So when they say, oh, she shouldn't have shot her, well, her ass should not have been running trap house stuff. That's all I'm saying. So when you live that life and you get the result of it, I'm sorry, I can't feel bad for you. You know, she didn't even have that EMS job for about a year. So she wasn't this current EMS worker. She wasn't. She was not. She was running game, and she was running it good.
So everything that we know about the Breonna Taylor case was
it's a lie.
Mainstream media spin to get people riled up.
Yep. And it worked. Same thing they want to suppress. They want to suppress the right information.
I learned my lesson, man. I don't get riled up over these things until all the facts come out anymore. As a matter of fact, I try my best not to even pay attention to them. I see them in my social media feed, and I'm just like, all these memes start popping up and saying this and saying that. And I take all that shit with a grain of salt because, man, people get shot and killed all the time. White people get shot by, as a matter of fact, more white people get shot by the police than black folks do. What's crazy is they only show what they think is going to get people riled up over. Like they want people rioting. I think the mainstream media should be held accountable, man. Now I'm a big fan of the First Amendment, but I think that journalists and I think journalists and the mainstream media have a certain responsibility to report accurately. As a matter of fact, it used to be illegal. To rely on mainstream media. Now, even when it was illegal, they were still doing it. But under the Obama administration, they made it to where the media can't be held accountable if they lie anymore. And that's why you've seen mainstream media get as crazy as they have. Like, how old are you?
43.
You're 43. So imagine, damn, you don't look 43, bro. You look good. All right. You remember how the news was when we were kids? How they reported? Mm-hmm. They reported on local things going around. Journalists actually put in a lot of work. Journalists, shit, man. There's journalists that put a year into a story before it's brought up on mainstream media. It's not like that now. It's report fast, get the information, and it's all about the fucking clicks. And they pander to outrage culture because it gets the most clicks. And they hold
until it hits them. Until it hits them, then they're like, well, come on, you got to get all the facts.
What are you talking? You talking about that? You talking about the Indian and the little kid with the MAGA hat?
Yeah,
they got fucking sued like a motherfucker, bro. They got
all the facts now.
That dude, that kid, I can't. Hey, Toxic, look it up for me, man. The Covington kid. How much did he make in that settlement? I'll get my boy Toxic to look it up.
I know it's millions. That's all I know. He had sued for 230 or 250, but I don't think he got to 250. I think he got somewhere in the region of 150.
Yeah, he was fucking crucified on mainstream media, and now he's a millionaire. Just like this fucking Kyle Rittenhouse guy. They crucify him, but when he finally gets out of jail, he's going to be a motherfucking millionaire. Millionaire. Hey, let me throw this. Let me cross this at you, man. I have a little theory. I believe that mainstream media, the leftist mainstream media, and the mainstream left actually want Trump to win in 2020. I think all of this is by design.
To gain more popularity with the riots.
250 million.
Yeah.
250 million is what the Covington kid made. Oh, bro.
I need to hit him up.
Right? We need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah. That'll get you some views.
Oh no, 250 million is what he's wanting. We don't know the actual number, but that's what he's going after.
I don't think they disclose it, but from what I had heard that it was somewhere in the region of 100+ million that he had to end up settling.
Fucking rich. Never has to work another day in his life.
Even if he had settled for 50 million, that dude's set.
He's set for life, bro.
A good head on his shoulder.
And all he had to do was listen to a drum solo.
Mm-hmm. Music and a movie.
He had to listen to a drum solo with a smile on his face.
With an ugly drum solo too. You know, not even a good one. It's insane.
Why can't that shit happen to us?
And that's the same thing I keep seeing, but I'm okay. It'll happen eventually. They'll try me at one point.
Hey, so another thing I wanted to ask you, man. I don't know how it works on Facebook. You have over 1 million views, man. Have you gotten a paycheck yet?
No.
Bro, hold on a minute. You should be able to monetize that video. They owe you money.
I probably can at this point because it's been on, like I said, it hit Newsmax. I think it's already made it to the desk of Rush Limbaugh. Someone sent it off to Tucker Carlson.
Bro, let me tell you something.
To Gavin McInnes. I don't know.
That is your content. and you have a paycheck. You have some paychecks coming to you. That's guaranteed. Those are facts. Those videos that get millions of views, they run ads on your videos. They're making money on those videos, and now these videos are hitting the mainstream. There's some money coming your way, and you need to look into that. You need to get you a microphone. You need to get you a microphone. Upgrade that internet service and start your own podcast, bro. Start your own podcast.
If I could upgrade my internet where I'm at, because I'm in fairly rural place, it's hard to get any better speeds. I'd have to move, at least get a booster of some sort. But
so is it?
Definitely look into it. I got some people helping me get my YouTube figured out. I got a couple of people that are already willing to help me get it off the ground and figure all the ins and outs of how it goes. It's like I said, it's all new. I did not plan on this. It's not something I woke up one morning and says, I'm gonna go viral. I never
no, man, that's never how it happens, man. Same thing with the Hodge twins. You know who the Hodge twins are.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They never planned on blowing up. It started with one video. You know what I mean? It always starts with one fucking video. But the cool thing about having a YouTube channel, man, is your internet connection don't matter. You don't go live, you record your video, you do your editing, and then you just upload that motherfucker and then share the link to your YouTube videos on your social media. That way, if Facebook decides to remove it, they ain't really removing shit because it's on YouTube. And YouTube's the same way, man. You start boosting those fucking views, man, you get a check. You need to do some research. I don't know really how it works on Facebook. I know how it works on Twitch. I know how it works on YouTube with monetizing. But yeah, man, you got some paper coming towards you. I don't know how much it is. You remember the vape shop Patriot, the guy that walked into the vape shop, and the guy that was
that guy lost it.
Yeah. So I know that guy. He's a friend on my Facebook, and I was supposed to actually bring him on the podcast. It just never worked out. Same thing. Like he had shitty internet. He was traveling. His job is to climb cell towers.
Oh, he's got one of those crazy jobs.
Yeah, so he's always in motels with shitty internet, and we just never got a chance to bring him on. But yeah, man, he definitely knows how to monetize. So I could hook you up with that guy. Yeah, you got some paper coming towards you, and they know it. That's why they didn't remove your video because it violated terms of service or anything. They removed the video because they owed you money. They were trying to stop it. They were trying to stop its momentum.
Making sure.
Yep, you froze up, man. Damn.
Cutting it.
There you go. You're back. I don't care how much you cut out. I'm still uploading this to YouTube. I don't care.
So no, for me, dude, I'm like I said, one of the guys that I'm doing live streams with on Facebook, Corey Fair. He's gonna help me try and partner up with him to help me get my YouTube channel proper. He's gonna get me information about how to best get my sound right, my visuals right.
I can help you with.
I'm working on it.
I can help you with your audio and your video. As for monetizing, like I'm no YouTube expert, but I'm kind of an audio. I'm definitely an audio expert. I was a touring musician my whole life. You see this mic right here? You see this microphone right here? This is what you need. This is a Shure SM7B. It's a $400 mic, and then you need a $150 preamp. But when you finally get your checks from Facebook, a camera and a mic is going to be easy to afford. I don't know what you want to spend your money on, but right now you need to, while you have this momentum, you need to utilize it. And your internet doesn't matter, man. Just record your YouTube videos. If you need to edit them and just upload them. Your internet speed does not matter. All you need is a quality microphone, a decent app to do it with. I'm using Stream Elements, and then you just need at least a C922 webcam. If you could see mine, it's not too bad. It's not the best camera in the world, but it works. It's all about the content, man. It doesn't have to be perfect, man. So
that's what I'm realizing.
So that brings me to this, man. All this shit with the rioting, and like, what's the solution, man? Is it police reform? Is it people reform?
You're asking a
complicated question.
No, not really. It's not complicated. It's committed. Whether or not you're committed to getting the solution. Okay, the solution is easy.
I have a great solution, but I want to hear yours.
What's that? No, go ahead. I want to hear yours first and see if it matches.
All right. So I'm a conservative with I'm a conservative with some libertarian values. I really don't claim a party. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not libertarian. But if I had to put something on it, I would say that I'm a conservative libertarian. A constitutionalist is what I always say, is what I am. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we need to end the prison for profit system, and we need to end the war on drugs. I think that's going to change the incentive of the police. Like if somebody is in possession of something that's illegal because they want to put it in their body and make themselves feel good, I don't think that should be an arrestable offense. They let us take risks. We're allowed to race cars. We're allowed to jump dirt bikes over buses. We're allowed to jump out of airplanes. We're allowed to drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes. I mean, literally, we're allowed to take all these risks. But as soon as you eat a couple mushrooms and smoke a joint, now you're committing a crime. I think that a person's consciousness is the most intimate part of your being, and that I don't think that government should be able to tell you what you can and can't do with your consciousness. I think that if you end the war on drugs, like straight across the board, decriminalize everything, regulate it, I think that we're gonna. I know for a fact that if you do this, it's gonna have a rough start. But there's a lot of taxes that can be made off of it. You can regulate it. You can make it safer. California does this. They have injection sites where they provide needles. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, because I'm not a big fan of heroin. Mainly when I say that we should decriminalize, I'm talking about marijuana and psychedelics. But I can't say those two and not say them all without sounding like an idiot. Because an adult's consciousness is the most intimate personal thing. I mean, it's your brain, bro. You know what I mean? It's your consciousness. Our consciousness changes when we sleep, when we dream, when we make love, when we get into an argument, when we get on a roller coaster, when we clock in the morning to go to work, when we drink a beer, when we smoke a cigar. We're always changing our consciousness. So the fact that the government has any say in what we do with our conscience, to me, is absolutely fucking absurd. And I think that if you end the war on drugs, it essentially ends the prison for profit system. Incarceration is a big business. A big percentage. We have a higher percentage of incarcerated people than any country in the world here in America. Most people that are in prison are in there for victimless crimes. And I think that if we stop
Is
that...
there such a thing, though?
Well, no and yes. No, that's what gets complicated, and that's the reason why I wanted to tell you this. Like, so you got some bad dope and a bad dope dealer that's selling bad dope to people in his community. There's heroin, for instance, that's been cut with fentanyl. That's going to kill a bunch of fucking people. Does that make that drug dealer a bad person? Maybe that dude does need to be punished. But the problem is it's illegal, right? Maybe that drug dealer would have his hands on something a little bit more safer if it weren't for the black market. Now, if you decriminalize, you're not 100% getting rid of the black market. But look at marijuana. Look at the scrutiny that is put on marijuana with these dispensaries. Like, it's regulated. It has to be fucking organic. You can't use pesticides, and it has to be inspected under a microscope to make sure that there's no mold, there's no mites, there are no bugs. Before, man, we were smoking shit that was brought across the border in a fucking diesel tank. Hey, this smells like gasoline. Who gives a fuck? Roll it up. Let's smoke it. And people are smoking this shit, covered in pesticides and stuff like that. They legalized marijuana. Now most of the marijuana in the country comes from legal states, and it's safer. I think that's going to happen with all the drugs. Like methamphetamines, for instance, right? It's bad shit, right? It's bad shit. But Big Pharma can sell you methamphetamines in the form of Ritalin, Adderall, and Vyvanse, and it's okay. But as soon as it's some shit that some dude made in his bathtub, it's a fucking problem, and now we need to arrest this person like they're a fucking animal. But I agree with you, man. Drug dealers selling bad drugs to people, killing people in the community, that's a problem. But I think that ending the war on drugs and decriminalizing it will help stop that.
So my solution is not necessarily, I guess, I think a lot of us, we look at a symptom and we don't.
But wait, there's more. There's more. I'm sorry, I forgot. Let me tell you one more thing. Police reform, in a sense that don't defund them, give them more money. Like we send people to war in the Army, the Marines, and shit like that. They go over there, they do a tour 6 months, they come home, they get time to decompress and relax and process everything they deal with. Cops have to go to work 6 days a week, year round. They don't have any resources, no time to decompress. I think that a police officer's work week should be 20% training. 20% training. I think that they should maybe work a month, take 2 weeks off, maybe work 3 months off on, 1 month off. But I think the police should be treated as our soldiers are. They have the most impossible job on the planet. It's impossible. The only way you could be a successful police officer after zipping up a 2-year-old in a body bag and then dealing with it might be detained with the camera in your face right after zipping up a 2-year-old. The only kind of people on this planet that can deal with that and do it emotionalist are crazy people. People that have no emotions, that are kind of crazy in the head already, where they're unaffected from zipping up that kid in the body bag. If they're unaffected by that, then they're going to be unaffected by some punk kid with a camera in their fucking face. That only represents 10% of the American population, maybe 20%. 10% of the people in this country are capable of being that cop. But the rest, they're not capable. Being a police officer ain't for everybody. And one thing that I always say is police officers are people too. You pull into McDonald's, you order a double cheeseburger, and you get it at the window, and they forgot your fries, and there's no cheese on your burger. That's some of these fucking cops. They're just people. They have bad days. They make mistakes. They just broke up. They got a divorce. They caught their kid fucking in the back of the van. I mean, they're people. That's one thing. This is big misinterpretation that people have of police officers. When they see that badge and that uniform, they forget that they're just a person, that they're just a human being. So I think training, time to decompress, throw more money at them so they can have better tools, less lethal tools. I think that if you're a police officer, you should at least be a purple belt in jiu-jitsu so you can end any situation very quickly and less lethally. On top of everything I just said, in the war on drugs, in the prison for profit system, and I think that we would be looking up, maybe my ideas aren't perfect, maybe some adjustments need to be made, but I feel like that would be a pretty fucking good start.
So, like I said, I think there's some good value to the stuff you say. The surface. But I've long said there is no such thing as a victimless crime. And that goes for crimes that are legal and illegal. People may not consider it a crime, but these drug companies, they're committing crime by giving people some. Zoloft. Let's just start with something simple. Zoloft gives people numbness effect to their brain, where they do stuff and they really have no conscience about what they do, how they do. In my book, that should be a legal thing. The same reason I have an issue with Bill Gates. He puts in vaccines. It should be illegal too. But I think it comes down to it narrows down to a lot more concise of a reason. The same reason why you can't really outlaw guns and you can't really put a restriction enough on guns not to have guns. If they want a gun, find a way to get a gun.
Especially when you're bordered with Mexico.
So if you want drugs, want the heavy stuff, you'll find a way to get the heavy stuff. Whether the legal stuff is light or kind of heavy, you're going to do enough of that because whenever it's boring and you're going to want to do something. Okay. So my process starts with family. Okay, because a lot of the reasons people sometimes, gravitate to use of drugs, it's a stress at home, it's anger, poor living condition. bunch of stuff that they do that just it influences. So to say that if you just regulate and make everything okay, then the stressors don't go away. Okay, you don't take away the problem. You just give you a coping mechanism. Hang on.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was actually grinning and smiling because she was trying to duck away from the camera.
I was trying to ignore her.
Hey, bro, I was completely playing the 007 song in my head. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh God.
No, I have to 100% agree with you, man. So what you're talking about is there's a people problem too. You know, people trying to cope,
and it's not solvable. It is not really. Well, it is, but it's not solvable by adding anything to people and giving them any more freedoms necessarily. Because in giving that freedom, just as you give the normal people that freedom, you also give the crazies that freedom now. Okay? And really the ones that commit the crime are not the regular normies that are looking for just a relief from the daily stress with some shrooms or a smoke a joint. That's not the ones that you got to worry about. It's the ones that already have mental issues to begin with, that already have a propensity to violence, that have the issue. They're just now they have a legal way to get even more messed up. I think if you look at it, if you focus on two things, the family and mental health, I think you solve more issues than if you focus on the police and the drugs.
Well, I think that you're focusing on family when you in the war on drugs and the prison for profit system, because look at our inner cities. A lot of these families are broken families, and these kids are growing up without fathers. Imagine how our children, imagine what our children would come to be without our hammer in their life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, kids need fathers just as much as they need mothers. Now, that doesn't mean
to focus on the family.
Now, I'm not saying that mothers can't handle it.
Oh no, right? They can't. Don't sugarcoat it.
No, what I'm saying,
they can't.
I'm saying
by themselves, bro.
I'm not saying that they can't. What I'm saying is it's better when you have a team in between a woman and a man, that a father and a mother is always going to be better than one or the other. A woman brings women bring stuff to the table that men don't. Men bring stuff to the table that women don't, and those are just facts.
And it's not just don't, can't. Okay, it's not just don't. A lot of people want to just kind of make it okay enough and just let it be. That's not me. No woman is going to be able to tell a male child the proper use for his thing, or tell him how to handle his hormones. There's no way that's going to happen. Not at all. And the same way, there's no way a male is going to be able to tell his daughter what's the best way to handle her period. It's not going to happen, which is why you focus on the family. And you focus on it from the get-go.
Well, where I'm getting at...
Don't have a kid out of wedlock, and you don't get married. You don't have a kid out of wedlock, and you don't go doing that before you finish your education.
Well, where I'm getting at is the prison for profit system and the war on drugs takes a lot of fathers out of the households. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people... Well, imagine... All right, for me, for instance, right? I smoke marijuana every once in a while. Like, probably a couple times a month, I smoke marijuana. Now, I don't leave the house with it, and I will go without it if I can't have it brought to me. So I'm pretty responsible about it. But for some instance, let's say my door gets kicked in and I'm burning a doobie. I'm going to be arrested, right? And I'm going to go to jail. Now, that's a pretty minor crime, so I'm just like using marijuana. Let's just take marijuana out of it. Let's say it's mushrooms. I think mushrooms are a felony. I'm not positive. Yeah, let's say that whatever I'm consuming is a felony. Well, boom. I get up, I go to work. I'm a good dad, but hey, I wanted to eat some. I got caught with some mushrooms because somebody called the cops and they showed up at the wrong house, my house. Mm-hmm. They came in and there was mushrooms on my table. Well, that's the war on drugs. So now my kids have lost their father for whatever amount of fucking time it is. That's just a minor fucking drug charge. But maybe I pick up maybe I'm freaking the fuck out and I pick up a resisting charge, or maybe I get emotional, or maybe I just yank my arm away and now I've assaulted a police officer. Now maybe it started with me eating a couple of mushrooms and it winds up with me being away for 10 years. I'm just kind of trying to paint a picture. That's not how it would go down in my house. But now I have a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 12-year-old. I got 10 years. My daughter's going to be 22 when I get out. My son's going to be 15 when I get out. And my daughter's going to be 18 when I get out. All of them grew up without a father. They took the father out of their home over a fucking plant. And that happens. That's a reality. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to concentrate on the family, I think ending the war on drugs can help. It's not a solution. It's just a small piece to the puzzle. I think that you need to stop looking at a person for consuming something as an animal. There's a problem. Maybe their lives are perfect, right? Their bills are paid, they got a bunch of money in the bank, and they just get off work and they want to smoke a joint. Or maybe there's some fucking weirdo that get off work and they want to snort some cocaine and go fuck a hooker. Whose business is that, right? If their bills are paid, their kids are taken care of, and they're functioning fucking citizens in this country, who gives a fuck what they do with their body and their time, as long as they're not harming anybody else. So I mean, I think that
last part is what you cannot regulate or predict. Okay, you can, because the brain is ever moving. Your synapses are ever firing and dying, and there's no way for you to say when you do mushrooms once or do it the next time that you'll have the same effect on you. Okay? So take, for instance, you decide to make it all legal.
I don't necessarily legal. I'm saying decriminalize. What I mean by that is
I'm just saying make it all legal. I'm saying if you make it all legal. So let's
stop arresting people for it.
I get that, but let's go to the extreme. I want to take it all the way out. Let's make it legal to have, to use, whatever. The only things now that are legal is harming others. You do shrooms once, no biggie. No one gets harmed because it doesn't affect you, but you mellow out, you go into your little space zone, and you're now 28 using it when you use it at 22. Your brain doesn't function the same at 28 as it did at 22. They either enhance or things die off. Now you do the drugs, and it changes your chemistry, and now you act differently on it. You get a little more aggressive when you take it, but you don't see it because you're in your zone. You go forward again, you hit 30. Your chemistry's changed again. This time you take it, and there's more stress in life, so you have to take more of it, you think, and now it has an even more compounded effect on you. And now you get overly aggressive, and you do something out of the norm. My point is this: because you can't regulate how that occurs and the strength of which things are going to happen,
but you can
making it the same thing across. How?
All right. Well, you can't in a sense. So the problem with all these drugs being illegal is not even doctors or scientists can work with them or study the effects on the brain and your consciousness. You can't even possess them, right? The problem with that is, like, countries around the world use Ibogaine to help people with addiction. People with heroin addicts, alcoholics use Ibogaine. One time, boom, they're not addicted anymore. I can tell you right now, one DMT session with me, and now I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer. I drank heavily, really heavy for the past 3 years. About 5 months ago, I did a DMT session. Kids, don't do drugs. I wasn't doing this recreationally. I was on a spiritual journey that led me to it, and dude, I quit everything. It changed my relationship with marijuana. I used to smoke daily. I used to drink a half a bottle of whiskey to a 6-pack of IPAs daily. And one DMT session, I committed 15 minutes of my life to a 15-minute journey off some DMT I consumed. I quit drinking and pretty much quit using marijuana. not because I felt like it was the best thing for my life, but because it rewired my brain and changed my relationship with those two drugs. Now, do I have a beer with alcohol in it every once in a while? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right now, I'm drinking non-alcoholic IPAs that I ordered off the internet. But Ibogaine and DMT have these powerful effects and ways to rewire your brain chemistry for people that are addicts, people that have PTSD, people that have psychological issues. If you look at all these school shooters and all these mass shooters that we dealt with, every single one of them were on fucking antipsychotics, antidepressants. What do they call them? SSRIs. That is the one thing that they all have in common, that they were all on SSRIs. But we have stuff like mushrooms, DMT, Ibogaine, Bufo. There are these psychedelics that are super, super powerful that human beings been using for 12,000 fucking years. There's history of people. I mean, I don't know if you're a Christian.
I am.
But there's DMT use in the Bible, mushroom use in the Bible. I believe it has a lot to do with religion. All religions are connected in some shape or form with some use of psychedelics here and there. And I think
you'll have to send me that info that you got.
I think there's a part of humanity that has always had a connection to psychedelics, but they're completely illegal, so we can't do research on them. We can't test. And where I was going with this is like, yes, you are absolutely right. I ate a bag of mushrooms when I was a kid, had a great time. It was fun. About a year ago, I did 1.5 grams of mushrooms, and it was a terrible experience. I didn't freak out or nothing, but I was nervous. It was uneasy feeling. I didn't enjoy it. But I could imagine had I ate the same amount that I did when I was a kid and I had zero problems in my life. Now, you are absolutely right. It would have been a completely different experience. But decriminalizing them will allow doctors and researchers to do more research. And as that happens, us as a nation, us as a society, because doctors and scientists are doing their research, we will know more about it. So some kid that popped some mushrooms when he was a teenager, had some fun, tries to pop the same amount as an adult. Yeah, that dude can freak the fuck out. You want to know why? Because he's ignorant. He don't know what he's fucking doing. You know why he doesn't know what he's doing? Because there's no science behind it. There's no testing behind it. Same thing with nothing can ever prepare you for an Ibogaine trip or a DMT trip. Nothing that I can say to you will ever prepare you for what you're about to experience when you do it. You want to know why? Because it's a Schedule 1 fucking felony to possess it. There needs to be research done. Scientists and doctors need to be looking into these things. And if they did, us as society would know more about it. There would be more. I say that. We got the internet. There's a lot of shit out there on mushrooms and DMT, but some adult, some middle-aged man that's mushrooms are right in front of him, you think he's going to Google it and read for 2 hours before he consumes it? No, and that's a problem. My journey, I did research on DMT for a whole year before I even considered using it. But it had some great benefits to me, man. It was a very horrifying, beautiful experience. Like, it's one of the reasons why I quit podcasting for 8 months. I decided that I'm going to hang out with my kids, spend time with my family, stop drinking, stop getting high. And I did all that, all because of an illegal substance. Like, there was some great benefits to it. Now, had I been caught in my backyard taking a hit of that, I'd be in fucking prison right now. And that right there is a fucking problem. If we want to concentrate on the families, that's something that we got to at least look into and consider.
So then would you then, if someone is going through doing some drugs that have an adverse effect on their family, would you then force them to take that journey so they can stop having those adverse effects when it's not really a illegality, or you make it okay to have those drugs that they're?
I think
you force them to take a way out.
I would not force, me personally, I wouldn't force anybody to do anything. Like, that's the whole point.
How do you stop the chain of events that might happen if they're doing something?
No, there is always going to be a risk to everything we do in life and every decision.
I get the risk, but I'm saying what you're suggesting then, if you have that out, how would you introduce them into getting that if they don't want to stop? they see the results of their action. Okay, they see it. You tell them about it, and they don't want to stop. They don't have to stop because now you've made it that it's okay for them to use it. My question then is, do you wait until it becomes so adverse that something really horrible happens, or do you intervene and make them change?
Well, in the sense of psychedelics, I can tell you this. Yes, you can freak out on fucking mushrooms. Absolutely. Absolutely. DMT? Nah, bruh. You're wherever you were sitting is where you're going to be for the next 15 minutes.
No. That wasn't the question, though. That wasn't the question. You said the DMT is something that you can use to escape and get off of that using certain things and becoming a detriment to yourself. You said that's a journey you took, right?
That's not going to be everybody's journey, though.
Exactly. So my point is this. Even with research, you have to have a person knowing that they have an issue. Are you going to make them take that journey or wait until they really screw up and put them in jail?
Man, that's a complicated question. But what I'm saying is this. I agree with everything you're saying 100%. You're definitely a voice of reason here. But what I would say is this. There's many tools out there and there's a bunch of stuff out there that we're not utilizing because it's illegal. Right? Why are we synthesizing and fabricating and creating drugs? Why is Big Pharma pumping Ritalin into our 5-year-old sons and Zoloft into our 10-year-old fucking daughters? When there are things that grow right out of the fucking ground that we can be doing experimentation on. Like, I tell you one thing that's used is MDMA for PTSD, and it's very, very 100% been successful, where they take a soldier with PTSD and they give him MDMA and he lays back and it basically knocks the walls down and enhances their consciousness, where a doctor is sitting there talking him through things and talking about things. I don't know if you've ever tried MDMA before, but it's a complete state of consciousness change to where you feel like life feels like a big hug from your mother when you're an infant. I don't remember what that would feel like, but that's what I would compare it to.
Envision it be.
Right. So imagine you're just being coddled by this warmth of love, and you have the psychiatrist talking you through things that you're going through in your life, right? MDMA has worked amazingly. Amazingly. There is soldiers in our country that leave our country to go get these MDMA sessions, and some of them talk about one session and they were fucking fixed. Right? Is it the drug? Is it a combination of the drug and the psychiatrist? Probably. Right? Does it work on everybody? Probably not. Everybody has different experiences. You know, what you're going through and what I'm going through when I consume this drug are two different things. Like, if you do research on DMT, the experiences, while very similar, have some very, very, very different. There's people out there that have really different experiences. Like my experience, I haven't found anybody that's had an experience like mine was. Mine is complete foreign to what I see on the internet. I've talked about it. I've told people my story, and I ain't found a single person that's even read about an experience similar to mine. So mine was completely different from all the research I did. It was horrifying. It was the most traumatizing experience I've ever had in my life. Like, I got PTSD from it. I'm not telling you guys to go do a DMT, all right? At the end of the day, the effects it had on me were beneficial, right? I started to focus on my kids. I started to focus on my wife. I put the fucking bottle down. I stopped using. Instead of like trying to come home and get drunk to drink all my worries and stress away, I came home and I'd spend time with my son. I spend time with my daughters. I spend time with my wife. I made my family my new drug. Right? Mm-hmm. That was the result of my DMT session. Now, some guy in the chat room might have a completely different experience. But that's where we're at. We need doctors to be able to sit a guy down on the couch, talk to him, use meditation, whatever they need to use to find out where they are and what state of mind they are, and then what tool to use to help them. It might not be DMT. It might not be Ibogaine. It might be MDMA. It might not be either. It might be a microdose of mushrooms. Hell, it might be Zoloft. What I'm saying is there's a variety. There's a variety of things. There's a variety of things out there that God provided that grow on this earth that have extreme benefits that we're just ignoring because they're fucking Schedule 1 and they're illegal. And you can't do research. You can't. Like, if, let's say I'm a heroin addict and I want to do an Ibogaine session, I got to fly across the sea to go do it. Or fly to Mexico or fly to South America to do it. Right? That's fucked up. Heroin addicts are broke. They spend all their money on fucking heroin. But the heroin addicts and stories that I've heard of people using Ibogaine were really successful. Like, their lives, they were on the verge of death. Did an Ibogaine session, which is not recreational. DMT is not fun. Ibogaine is not fun. It's a kick in the ass, is what it is. I just have to say that because there might be a teenager listening to me right now. But I'm not telling you to try it, not telling you not to try it. Your consciousness is your business. That's my point.
And I get that everyone has to make their choice about it. That's not up for.
You're saying if somebody freaks out and murders somebody, that's a fucking problem. I agree.
And there's no
100%
any doctor to regulate when or if that will happen, because they also can't control what that person lives like, what they encounter in the day, how they handle that particular type of stress, especially if they've never been through that particular type.
But when you say
there's
that
so many and
when you say that
anomalies to it,
there is anomalies. When you say that you can't regulate it, the reason why I said I disagree a little bit is if you do research and you let's say they decriminalize all these psychedelics and they get 10 years under their belts of research. Well, man, that's some technology right there. Now you can control the environment. You can figure your patient out. Which one of these should we try on this person? And as the doctors learn about this thing, so does society. We kind of figure things out. We hear about this story where this dude took too many mushrooms and killed a psychiatrist. Well, how many mushrooms did he take? Well, he fucking ate an ounce of mushrooms. All right, well, maybe we shouldn't eat a fucking ounce of mushrooms. That's the kind of things that are going to happen. That already happen, right? These things are already happening. But we need to decriminalize so we can figure these things out. We're not going to stop people from consuming these things. You know that. I know that.
And therein lies the problem, okay? Because you have no way of monitoring everyone. The only thing you can monitor is the thing itself, which is why they put it the way they did. Their error is making a profit off of it through the pharmaceuticals, but that's a whole nother reasoning why they did that. They're doing that particular thing because they have an agenda to accomplish. It really doesn't have anything to do with whether they want a solve to your problem. Your problems are not their concern. Zoloft isn't there to control your problems. It's there to control you.
I agree.
Every other drug they give you is there to control you. Even if you were to say, okay, we have our research. Who's doing the research? How can you trust that their research is there to benefit you? You don't know that. So any hand that the government has in it, there is no way that you can trust that their results are for your benefit.
I agree.
They can tell you, no, it's not laced. No, it's fine. And they can give you all the information that they want you to have. But there is no way unless you grow it yourself. And then when you grow it yourself, there is no guarantee that they will not come in and say, well, it's not regulated. So there is no real fine. There's a very fine line of saying, well, I want to have my liberties. And then having the government say, then you can have those liberties, but here are the lines that you can't cross, like they did with marijuana. But then you can't make money off of it unless we make money off of it because they're still in control. So when I say go back to the family unit, I don't mean go back to doing what you want to do. I mean going back to the basics of family, eliminating government from the whole tenure of family altogether.
I agree 100%.
It's not a government regulated thing. It is what we as a society have had enough of. If we're really tired of killing, we're really tired of gangs, we're really tired of drunk driving, we're really tired of people getting shot. If we really are tired of those things, then we will start to look into ourselves and see why it is that we feel the need to do any of those things to begin with. While you may not be able to control the external circumstances, what you can control is your reaction to something. But you can't know what your reaction to something is until you know yourself. The problem is that people don't want to get to know themselves because the escape is way easier, which is why I say even if you were to make drugs legal or make them acceptable, then people have a reason to even avoid knowing themselves. An issue pops up, they have an adverse day, they come home and they want to forget it instead of going through the motions of saying, okay, this was my bad day. This happened, this happened, this happened. What would happen if I reacted different in this situation, and start to grow from those failures or grow from those wins instead of going to a place where you want to forget the
But that's where I have to be the devil's advocate here. Like, for instance, marijuana. A high dose of marijuana can speed up the process that you're speaking of. You've heard people getting paranoid and stuff. For my experience, this is not everybody's, but for me, I get inside my own head. And like, if I now, when I use marijuana, I microdose. I don't like to get high. I don't like to get intoxicated. A little slight head change is what I go for. Mm-hmm. But when I accidentally consume too much, I get inside my own head and I literally play by play my whole day, how I reacted to things. You can speed up those processes that you're talking about with some drugs. It's very, very possible.
I get that you can, but that's not the reason people usually go do the drugs.
I agree.
They don't do it to get into their head. I'm like I said, I go back to what is your intention? Are you doing things to actually better yourself and figure out why something happened, not avoid it happening? Because sometimes you want a conflict to happen. You need a conflict to happen so that you know the result.
That's that outrage culture.
When I drive, when I'm driving, if I never have a near accident, I will never know, my body will never know that heightened sense of alertness that it needs to have for when it does happen, so my body kicks into that mode of protection. If I go through my whole life and I think nothing will ever happen, and then that happens, I don't know how to handle the situation, which is why they put you through driver's course and they put you through various scenarios. We as a human conglomerate have forgotten how to go into the situation itself, apply ourself to it, and learn from it. What we end up really doing is have a situation come, we don't like it, avoid it.
But what if I told you this? And again, I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm no expert on anything, as I'm a fucking moron that just has some ideas. And I'm speaking from personal experiences. What if I told you that if you have issues that you need to work through, maybe it takes you a week or two. For instance, like somebody close to you dies. Everybody deals with death a different way, right? Some people get over something a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Let's put a death to the side. Any issue you may be having in your consciousness and your brain, problems that you're going through. Let's say it takes me a year to become a better person, or a week or a month to work out my issues. But there's something out there that can kick me in the fucking ass and force me to figure it out within 15 minutes. Is that a problem to do that? Should that be a problem?
You can't regulate it.
You can't regulate anything in life.
No, because hold on, but you don't know that that's going to be the result.
You don't know that coming home and meditating is going to have a positive result.
But I didn't say.
I know you didn't. But what I'm saying, we're living in a society where, like, you're a pretty wise man. I feel like I'm pretty wise when it comes to certain things as well. Well, we're moving into a society where kids are eating fucking Tide Pods. All right, kids are fucking burning down fucking cities and shit. Right? Sometimes an accelerated fucking action is the answer. What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying, I get what you're saying about your intentions. A lot of people use drugs to escape, right? What I'm saying is the reason why drugs are so dangerous is because people don't know. Like, imagine if you could go somewhere and you're a heroin addict and you can get some pure heroin and you can get the right dose that's not going to fucking kill you because it's cut with fentanyl. Imagine if it's regulated on that sense. to that level. Like when marijuana became legal, you could get 1,000 milligram fucking edibles, and people were freaking the fuck out on them. I'm sure you heard the story about the police officer that took marijuana brownies off a suspect, went home, him and his wife ate the marijuana brownies, and then there's a 911 call where they're like, we're gonna die. Well, they were freaking the fuck out because they overdosed on edibles. They weren't gonna die. There was no chances that they were gonna die, but they were freaking out because they were super fucking high. What I'm saying is this. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm just random. Well, what I absolutely am saying is this. I agree with you 100% that you can work through things in your consciousness in your day-to-day life. You can better yourself completely sober. What I am saying is there's tools out there and there's things out there that can accelerate those things, and we can know more about them as soon as they're not illegal anymore.
And like I said, I'm not doubting that. My problem is that you are going after the means of which to get to something, but not the something.
Well, the something is Zoloft.
No. The people themselves, us as people, we are not big fans of looking inwardly, especially if it's because of something negative. We're not big fans of it. It takes a lot out of you to do it, which is why most people don't. You took the large step of doing what you did because you saw the problem was getting way too much. You saw it, and you, as a high-functioning adult, saw, I need to be able to solve the problem. The real thing that solved your problem isn't necessarily the drug you took, but it's the step you took when you took the drug. If you took that drug with the intention of just taking the drug, you wouldn't have solved jack.
Well, see, this is the thing. Like my spiritual journey that led me to DMT, I didn't do it because I was trying to fix anything. I wasn't trying to fix anything. I didn't really.
What were you trying to do?
You know, I had a bunch of problems going on in my life that I really didn't see, right? I was just on autopilot. Get up, go to work, make sure my kids are fed and taken care of, make sure they're not doing nothing stupid, kissing my wife, telling her I love her, make sure I'm a good husband, make sure I'm a good dad. And there's a lot of issues that I was having where I wasn't focusing on myself, where I was allowing this war to brew inside of my soul, like this intensity that was just building up that I didn't know was there. Right, I didn't know there was any issues. I was on autopilot, but I was on a spiritual journey, praying, whatever you. I don't need to get deeply into it. Let's just say I was on a spiritual journey that led me to DMT, and I didn't know why I was doing it, what the outcome was going to be. I was just like, I'm 37. I'm an adult. My kids are being watched and taken care of right now. This is only going to take 15 minutes. I did enough research on it to know that DMT is created in your lungs. They think that it's created in your pineal gland, but they can't prove that. But I knew that it was safe. I had a sitter watching me to make sure everything was going to be okay. I knew that no matter what happened in that 15-minute journey that I was going to experience, that I was going to come out of it okay. I didn't really have a goal in mind. It was just something that I wanted to experience. And I did. Now, the outcome was not expected. I didn't expect it to have all the benefits that it did. I didn't expect it to dramatically rewire my brain to the way that I think now. I didn't expect it to make me quit drinking. I didn't expect it to change my relationship with marijuana. I didn't expect anything like everything that happened was not on my mind when I tried it. It was not on my mind.
But it was. But it was.
Maybe
I admitted to that much.
Maybe subconsciously. Maybe subconsciously.
Because you were on a journey. You were on a specific journey. You were not on a spiral. You were on a journey.
More like a midlife crisis that involves spirituality.
It's a journey because you're not going down the other way. You were trying and forced into a position where you had to start looking introspectively. That's where your journey started. Okay. You want to sell yourself short about, I wasn't planning on making it. Whether you believe it or not, you were seeing things about yourself that you wondered why you were doing, or the journey would have never started.
I can agree with that.
At all. Okay? So to say that you didn't have an intention, your intention was to make some sort of change, whether for the better or for the worse. A change was what you were going for because you had never tried this before. So obviously a change would have happened, but you would have never gone to that place had your journey not started. So when I say that your first step has to be one of introspection, you have to start there. If you don't start there, the only reason you're going to use the drug is for recreation or for escape. And I think our problem is that for the majority of the world, our reason is escape because stress always shows up.
But
now, yes, and I believe
one thing that I will say is this is absolutely 100%. I wasn't doing it for an escape. Like 100%. I was drinking for an escape. I was smoking marijuana for an escape. Something that lasts 50. All right, so let me give you a little. DMT is produced in the body. Your body knows how to process it. From the time you take a hit off of it, you go back to 100% true zero, like you never did anything after about 15 to 30 minutes. Your body knows what to do with it because your body produces it. So let's say that people do it for an escape, because people do. There are people out there that use DMT to escape. I'm not denying that. That is definitely not why. If anything, my motivation was curiosity. It was definitely curiosity. I knew what I was. Well, I didn't know what I was getting into. There's no way that I can explain it or anybody can explain it. You don't with DMT. You just don't know what's about that. You can't. Human words can't describe what you're about to experience when that happens. The spiritual experience that you're about to happen. What's about to happen is not for words to explain. Like,
right.
I hope that you go on a journey and research DMT. It's gonna take you down a rabbit hole where you're gonna be like, it's gonna blow your fucking mind. Mm-hmm. Curiosity definitely led me to it. As an escape, no, man, I was using alcohol and pot for that. And like, yeah, my journey led me to that, and my curiosity is the reason why I took a hit off some DMT. But it wasn't for an escape. And I really did not know what to expect. The benefits, what happened, the outcome, I didn't know that was going to happen. That was just random. Maybe it wasn't random. Maybe I was led to that point in my life intentionally. Maybe it was by design. But, man, I think that that takes me back to the whole... Maybe, we say make them legal, decriminalize. Maybe at least at the level to where people can start doing research on it. And you're absolutely right. Anything the government has a hand in, you got to question. But maybe it's just some fucking scientist at Harvard that just wants to figure some shit out. And there are researchers around. Maybe there are researchers around the world that are already experimenting with DMT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I get that they're experimenting and you can do it, but you still have to, because we're a nation of law and order, as we have, you're still going to have to pass it through government channels, right?
Absolutely.
So can you logically tell yourself that you can trust them to use the information they have for your benefit? The answer is no. You just can't.
Man, well, see, I'm a kind of a conspiracy theorist in the sense that the reason why I think psychedelics are illegal is because people are asleep right now. Everybody's on autopilot. Sheep. We're all fucking drones, right? And that's where the government wants us, under their thumb. And they've been putting that since they started doing chlorine in the water. They've been trying to. And I think that psychedelics are a path to spiritual awakening, and they don't want that, and that's why they're illegal. There has been research done on them. MK Ultra, they were using LSD, right? Yeah, I know. But they were using it for the complete opposite of what it was. They were trying to get into the mind and manipulate it. But they couldn't. This is the thing. They couldn't manipulate it, and the whole
without the LSD.
They couldn't manipulate it with LSD. This is the thing. Like people's personalities and their consciousness, they took on their own paths with it. And I think that we have access to 1/10 of our brains. Our consciousness is so complex. So complex. It's like trying to describe our creator to somebody. There's just words can never do it, right? You can go to church for 10 years and whatever you imagine our creator is, you're fucking wrong, and you're naive to think to know what that is or what all this is about. But I see a spiritual awakening happening.
Debate, but
I see a spiritual awakening happening one way or another, but I feel like psychedelics wake people the fuck up. Like you have access to 1/10 of your brain. Psychedelics, absolutely 100% facts, give you access to more of your consciousness. And I think that that's important in a controlled way. I'm not saying that we should just full-blown legalize shit and start selling shit at the gas stations. I'm saying that we should decriminalize it so we can start doing research on it. That these are tools that can be used to benefit people and help their lives. And at the very least, if you get caught with the joint in your pocket, you shouldn't go to jail. If you get caught with a small dose of mushrooms, you shouldn't go to jail. You're not an animal. Right? You haven't hurt anybody. As soon as you hurt somebody because you took too much, yes, now you're in trouble. Now you fucked up. You should face the consequences of that.
For the action, not for the drug use, but for the action.
Absolutely.
So then your real issue is not necessarily that you don't go to jail for something. It's the length of time and the consequence after taking. So here's my thing. And I had this conversation with someone just the other day. What they proposed, and this was actually with the last guy I had a live stream. Say we decide, all right, so we have, instead of these 5 to 10 years and 15 to 20 years, 10 to life and all this nonsense, you make everything that you consider crime a set number of years or months for punishment, okay? So like say you get caught with a joint, you keep the joint, you get a day, okay? So you're not supposed to have it out and about, just like you can't open a beer and drive with it, okay? Just not wise to do. You don't want to drink. You don't know what will happen, how you're going to function anytime you take a swig. It's just not wise, okay? For the effects that it has on you, leave it to your home. So you get caught outside, no, can't do that. We'll take you. You can finish off your joint, watch till your effects wear off, and you can go about your business, okay? The more a drug has an effect on you, the longer length of time you stay. It doesn't stay on your record, but it keeps you out of the way of other people until you're back. I am good with that.
I'm good with that.
Gone for life. You don't get gone for life, but it's also not.
I'm good. I'm good with any steps forward to where we're not ruining people's lives over. Now, I can understand drug dealers that are killing people with bad dope shit. That's a fucking problem. I agree with you 100%. But some guy with a couple mushrooms in his pocket that just wants to explore his consciousness when he gets home, leave that fucking dude alone. If he's sober and he's not doing anything out of line, you pulled him over for speeding, the dog alerted on his vehicle, he's got a mushroom or a fucking joint, let that dude go home. Is he sober?
Good.
Let that dude go home.
So that's fine. That's fine that you can say that. The issue comes in when we start to say who is an illegal seller of said drug. How do you know? Because if it's an issue where, okay, I buy...
We can take the path that we did with marijuana.
But that doesn't stop people from getting it illegal and selling it without.
Well, I mean, the black market still exists with marijuana. It's just not as big as it was. All right, you're in your 40s, so you know the whole history of marijuana, right? Where do you think most of the marijuana comes from today?
I mean, where it comes from today?
Yeah, legal states.
In terms of what part of the states it comes from?
The fact that it's not coming from across the border changes every fucking thing. Because back when I was in high school, we had no idea what the fuck we were lighting up and smoking. Now we got a pretty good idea that this was some top-notch, good grade shit that was grown in a fucking legal state. You know, it might be some reject weed. There was some mites in it. You know, that's usually why pot gets rejected at the dispensaries. It has mites. Now, are mites unsafe for you? Are they bad for you? No. They just want to sell a pure organic product that's not contaminated with mites when you go and you go to a dispensary and buy. So for the most part, because of the legalization of marijuana, even at the medicinal level, we know that 90% of the marijuana that we're getting out there is pretty safe and it's pretty okay, right? That would have never have happened if we didn't, at least at the medicinal level, legalize it. Now, I realize medicinal led to recreational legalization, but what I'm saying is it absolutely did make the drug safer. In every state that has legalized it, levels have dropped of the amount of kids and teenagers that are consuming. Colorado, they legalized it recreationally. Now kids are using it less. So yes, did the road kick off and it was a little rough start at first? And was there some issues that came up immediately? People driving high, all that kinds of shit? Yes, absolutely. There's some speed bumps and there's a process that we have to go through to figure a thing out. That's what the regulation part of it is. Trying to figure it out. Hey, you know, you can't drive fucking high. If you go to a fucking dispensary and you want to consume, you got to go back there. You can't leave for an hour. Those things exist, right? Those things can also exist for other drugs. I agree with you. You do a mushroom, you freak out, you beat somebody up, fuck you, you get a felony. You should have known. You should have been at your fucking house, surrounded by people that care about you, that can keep a good eye on you when you did that. You made the bad choice of doing it in public. You have committed a crime. You should pay for that crime. What I'm saying is, on the level of, like a guy like me, man, I make $50K a year. Let's say I'm driving home and I got a joint in my pocket. At the very least, maybe a civil fine doesn't go on your record. If I've consumed in my, you know, these are, I think these things are an effort and a good thing to do moving forward. And that's what brings me back to the whole family thing when you were talking about family. Let's stop. Drugs should not be a reason why you rip a family apart for 10 to 15 years. Like, dude, you get caught with a little bit of cocaine, goodbye. If your kid is 8 years old, he gonna be a grown-up when you get out over some fucking crack. That's a potential in some states. That's a real thing. So you go into these inner cities where these kids are already poor and that fast money is already looking good. You know, that fast money, that gang money, that drug money, that shit looks fun. It looks good. I can have the PlayStation 4 and the new Xbox and I have a car and all that bullshit. All that stuff looks really, really good. But you got a dad that is whooping your motherfucking ass every day, keeping you straight, making sure you go to school, making sure you do your homework, and that motherfucker gets caught with something and boom, he's gone for 10 years. Who's there to kick your ass now? Now you're George Floyd with a knee on your neck because you didn't have a dad in your life. Because he went away because he wanted to consume a substance that's a fucking felony. So I agree with everything that you've said so far on this podcast, but I think that we both have some good ideas, and I think that if a guy like me and a guy like you, I think if we came together, we use some of my ideas, some of your ideas, ultimately it helps out the family, which is the core problem in our society today. Mm-hmm. And it also ends the prison for profit system. You were bringing up prisons. We're not rehabilitating these prisoners. They go to prisoners go to prison, or people go to prison and they come out better criminals. We're not rehabilitating them at all. They come out more fucked up than they were when they went in there. The prison for profit system is an issue.
There's a whole other culture that goes on in the prisons, though. There's a whole other culture that takes place. And that's whether it's for profit or even government funded. Either way, what's not happening in the prison system is prison. Prison is the last thing that's happening. All you go in there to do is create a different sort of gang. So when you come out, now you come out with credentials. You basically graduate in the gang is all you do, because it's just an upgrade. You go in and now you've been there and people can say, oh yeah, he's been in the joint. That's the only reason prison exists anymore, it feels like. So you go, and the only people that go into prison fearful are pedophiles. They're the only ones that go into prison and fear they don't get out because they will get killed.
I think that we should make prisons more normal, right? The prison for profit system, we're basically treating people like the double cheeseburgers McDonald's on a fucking cook line. In and out, in and out, in and out. I think we should if you end the war on drugs, you're going to free up a lot of fucking tax dollars, right? Now, we can take those tax dollars and do a lot of things. But one thing we can do is we can throw them at these prison systems. These people go to prison. Like, you should be able to go to prison and come out with a bachelor's degree. You should be able to go to prison and have a job while you're there. Normal life. You get up, you go to work, you get off work, you go to school. This is the things that they do. They do this in Norway, in Norwegian prisons.
But
like
is that a choice, or do you make them do it?
No, you don't make them do it. They have to decide for themselves.
Perfect. Then what happens to those that don't?
The ones that don't just keep going back. They keep going back. That's a fact of life. You can't
end up the cycle then. So that's why I'm saying that also is a symptom of a larger picture. Okay.
And I agree, but imagine you're this hard-ass motherfucker and you're in prison and you don't want to participate in any of these programs. The prison in Norway, I think it's Norway, I'm not positive. Correct me if I'm wrong, Toxic Blood, I'm a moron. But yeah, there's certain I watched a documentary about this prison where some of them are hard-asses and they just want to stay in their cell. And that's what you do if you don't participate. You stay in your fucking cell. The only way out of that fucking cell is to participate in these programs. And the guards...
You are forcing them.
In a way, you get to come out, you get to eat, you get your 1 hour rec in the yard like a normal fucking prison. But if you want to go to work and make money, like, dude, this prison was badass. It had like a grocery store in it. Right? They can go to work, they make money, they can go get their groceries, they could come out with a bachelor degree. If they're in there for fucking 8 to 10 years, they can come out with the fucking masters, they can learn trades, all kinds of shit. And the prisoners the prison guards didn't act like fucking assholes. They'd sit on the couches with these people and have coffee with them. And talk to them like human beings and treat them like human beings. And this prison had a 75% rehabilitation rate. In other words, 75% of the prisoners that go into this prison never returned. That's what we need to be looking into. And we can free up the tax money to do stuff like that if we end the war on drugs. Thing is if we're going to fucking be throwing people in fucking cages, let's not treat them like animals. Let's treat them like people and let's rehabilitate them. If they're in jail because the family was broken and they didn't have a father, well, let's rewire their brain so that when they get out, they can be a functioning member of our society. But we're not doing that. It's a prison for profit system. It ain't no different than the guy on the corner selling drugs making money. That's what the prison system is. And the drug is the people that are in the prison. We have private prison systems in this country. If you want to buy a prison, you have now created incentive for judges to funnel fucking prisoners to you. Funneling prisoners to you, and it's the prison for profit system is as big as a business as fucking oil and gas, man. It's a problem. We're not rehabilitating people. We're creating bigger, badder criminals is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And I know that's kind of veering off the subject of family and shit, but
no, not really, because it's a side effect. Like I said, all of it's a side effect. You go from And I think too, you have people so you have this situation, right? Like, are we going back? Then this comes full circle. So you have these people rioting in the street, okay? And you have people like Kyle sitting in prison, okay? You have people then that are fully and unequivocally breaking the law.
Yeah, like the guy that pulled a gun on him was a felon, and he still hasn't been arrested.
Right.
A felon in possession of a firearm was not arrested, as Kyle is sitting in jail for defending himself. That's a problem.
And they know where he is, They know who he is, and they still haven't arrested him. And they haven't arrested him the same reason why they haven't made certain things legal, because it's a form of control. They have an agenda to fulfill. They have made the victims the bad guy and the bad guy the victims.
100%.
And the reason they do that is to keep us, the patriots, frenzied enough to not focus on factual stuff and think with our emotions. And then when we act out, we get kyled. We get arrested. See, whereas if we were to start thinking logically and say, all right, all we're going to do is we see what you're trying to do. We get it. So now we're going to be logical about this and exercise what we know is factual. I'm just in front of my business. I'm not doing anything. I'll just stay right here. They come to you. They try to mess with you. I'm not doing anything until you step on this place where I'm at. Once you do that, it's game on. Because like you said, there are certain protections that you have now once they enact the first move. I think a lot of us, though, and this is what I said in my video, are getting to the point where if the cops aren't going to do it, we will. Because not only do I have to protect someone when they ask me to, I have to protect my future. And this is starting to infringe on my future. Because the more they destroy, the harder I have to work to repair it. The more tax dollars I have to put into it to repair it. So when people say, well, that's not your business, like, it's not my business, but you're destroying stuff that will eventually cost me, then it becomes my business. So when we have that situation, and we have them trying to make sure that we stay emotionally driven, the more focused we can stay on the reasons we're doing something, like I said, internalizing, if we can stay on the reasons, we will have a better chance of bringing this thing back to level and to safe. But if we operate on the same level that they're doing it, and we just get riled up at their stupidity and we go out and we react instead of just act, we fall into the trap. And now we painted ourselves in a bad brush. The white people are already having a hard time. Okay, unless you agree with the left, they already brand you a racist. You probably experienced this already.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
If you don't agree with them, you're a racist. Me, if I don't agree with them, I'm a coon, I'm an Uncle Tom, I'm a sellout, I'm a what do they call me? Call me a Sambo.
What CNN called Kanye West? They called him a house Negro.
House Negro, yeah.
CNN, mainstream media, national TV in front of Children's and Family called Kanye West a house Negro for visiting the White House.
They have to. They have to. Because if they don't, then they don't keep the emotional state moving.
Man, you take all these words right out of my mouth. I remember I texted you and stuff why Facebook removed or disabled my account is because I was affiliated with a militia. And people got the wrong ideas about militias. We're not political. We don't go to these riots. We don't go to these protests. We literally do charity work is what we do. We train. We do all the training that you would imagine a militia does. We're ready. But, we work for Habitat for Humanity, rebuilding homes for people that lost their homes during Harvey. We work for the Houston Food Bank, feeding 5,000 fucking families a month and shit. That's what the militia fucking does. And our page, we never got political on Facebook. We kept it charity, kept it clean, working within our communities, being the change that we seek. But when you said what you just said just now, you took the words right out of my mouth. As a matter of fact, I had a podcast a few days ago where I was saying the same thing. They're keeping everything emotional. They're keeping people riled up. And it's all by design to bring a guy like me. It's by design to get me so riled up that I hit the streets and that I pull the trigger. Or that I'm forced into a situation, and then I react. And I've told everybody on this podcast, all my Patriot brothers, all my militia brothers and stuff, to not fall for it. That it's all a trick. And man, it's so good to hear somebody else thinking the way that I think when it comes to that situation.
But I put my caveat in there. But they are making it to where they don't seem to understand that if you guys really do have enough and act out of emotion, and I mean you guys as in patriots, myself included, because I'm prepping myself too. I just prep differently than most. But if we decide that we have had enough, they do not want us acting in our emotion. They do not want that. They may say they want us to, but if we really do act in our emotions and mobilize, this entire thing will be squashed. And I mean completely and utterly squashed, because we will not play around. We will sweep through streets and we will take people right out of that community. We will not care. They do not seem to understand that if we ever get emotionally fed up with this and stop thinking about the future and we get arrested and leave our families, if we stop thinking like that and we join them in this emotional anger, it will not end well for them. They do not seem to get this through their head because they keep banking on us to cower and fall back and act calm and reason through things. And they keep pushing for us to react so that they can paint us as the bad guys. What they don't seem to understand, and I don't know how they don't, what they don't seem to understand is you can only push so far. There is a wall. There is a wall back there that my back is going to be against. And once it's touched that wall, the only place left for me to go is back the way I came. And if you're in my way and my goal is behind you, I'm going through you. You understand? They do not seem to get this. And that was the purpose of my video. I started off with white people because, unfortunately, you guys are the ones under attack now. And I don't mean the bad. I don't mean the KKK, and I don't mean the skinheads, and I don't mean them. They should always be under attack. But the people who have done nothing, people like you who have actually helped, are now being branded like that. They're classing people like me with that. The same thing they violate, they rebel against, don't group all black people, which I don't group all black people. There are black people and then there are the other ones. Okay? There are black people and then there are the other ones. And we all know what I mean by the other ones.
Well, that goes.
Chris Rock said it. Even Chris Rock said it. I will hang out with black people all day long, but even black people don't like the other ones. People don't want to hear that. But it's true, just like you don't want to be associated with the other ones of your race. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, man.
You don't want to be a KKK member. You don't be considered a KKK member. I don't want to be considered a gang member. I'm not afraid to go down the street and get pulled over by the cop because I'm not a criminal. I'm not afraid of cops. What am I? Why am I going to act afraid? Because I get pulled over because I speed. Okay, you know what you're doing? Yeah, I was speeding. Well, can I see your license registration? Sure. Because I have all that out long before he shows up at my door. I don't have to reach for anything because I'm not stupid. If I know I'm getting pulled over, the first thing I do is have my wallet out and my hands on the steering wheel. You know why? Because that's logical. Here's the registration. I'm going for the registration. Get my registration. Picked it out long before he gets to my car. Have it all on my lap. Here you go. And I'm talking to him like I know him. That's how I handle cops.
That's how everybody should.
And I'm not looking at him like, oh gosh, it's a cop. I might get shot if I turn wrong. And instant you start doing that, the first thing he thinks is not that you're scared, is that you're hiding something.
Or what you, let me break it. This is how I look at it. You literally take the humanity out of the cop when you act like that, right? That cop, when he gets out of his car, police touch the back of your vehicle to put their fingerprints on your vehicle just in case something happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, cops are just people, man. They're scared too. They don't know what they're walking up on when they walk up to a vehicle. So when they walk up on a vehicle and this guy's got all of his paperwork in order, everything's ready, you really just need to, the encounter with the police officer, you need to realize, one, that he's a father, a brother, a husband. He's just a person. He could be having a good day. He could be having a bad day. And you, as a human being, could be the little change in his day that makes his day better. Right? Don't give that dude a reason to be scared. Don't give him a reason to be on guard. When you see the police officer, hey man, how's it going? How's your day been? Hand him the paperwork, ask him how his day. Treat that person as you would treat any other person throughout your day that you would encounter. How you doing? Mm-hmm. How you been? How's your day going? And as long as you treat that police officer with humanity, then he's going to not all of them, but most likely another human being is going to return the same favor. You need to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Not add to the problem, not even part of it. Just don't add to it.
The problem is the interpretation of people have police that the media has pulled out. They want people to fear the police when you shouldn't fear the police, right? If the cop is pulling you up, you just got pulled over by a U-Haul or a truck driver, a pizza delivery driver. It's just an EMT. It's a burger flipper. That's the cop. He's just a human being, right? And as soon as you ignore the badge, ignore the uniform, and just approach him the same way you would approach any other person that you would encounter throughout your day and treat them like a human being first, you kind of give the police officer a moment of woo-saw. You don't know what the fuck anybody's gone throughout their day no matter whether they're a cop, the gas station clerk, your pizza delivery guy, your Uber driver. You don't know what people have gone through and what state of mind they're in. And us as a society, we need to realize that we're all human beings. We all have bad days. We all say stupid shit we don't mean. Things that I believe in 100% right now, I might have different feelings about 6 months from fucking now. And when people start to understand humanity and people a little bit better, I think these police encounters will change a little bit. Just a little bit.
And not just that, too. I mean, you have to understand, too, that because you're coming into a situation where both are unknown, I don't know what the cop's going through and he doesn't know. The ideal situation is sometimes you always know if you've done something wrong. It's not like most people ask a stupid question, or he'll ask a question. It's a rhetorical question. Do you know why I pulled you over? 90% of the time, it's like liar, liar. You read off a whole list of stuff that you just did wrong. And then the cops are like, okay, well, at least you know that it's not because of your color of your skin. Because I've been pulled over for speeding. I've been pulled over for tailing. And sometimes I pulled over for nothing. And there's only one time in my lifetime I've ever been pulled over for nothing. And I wasn't rude with the cop. But what I did tell him, I said, but I saw you tailing somebody in front of me, and now you're pulling me over for something that you did. Why is that? And that's how I talked to him. He's like, well, that's not, I said, could it possibly be because I was black? He went dog silent. I said, I just need to know if it's because I'm black. That way I can get some information from you, and I can get that solved. Was it because I'm black? He let me off with a warning. So are there cops like that? Yes.
Absolutely.
How did I handle it? I didn't go into his face and said, hey, you racist, and start getting aggressive. The instant I do that, I've proven that I'm ignorant and that I'm worthy of getting shot. If he already has that preconceived idea of me, I don't need to solidify it in his mind. I need to give him a reason to look at me and say, damn, this one's different. I can't be doing that. He's got some, he knows what he's doing, and I could get myself in some really hot water.
100%.
That's the way I handle myself.
100%.
I teach my children that too. That's exactly how I teach my kids. I do send them out into the world knowing this. There are going to be people that will judge you on your skin. Their judging of you does not dictate who you are, but it does affect how they deal with you. Your job at that point then is to deal with them out of your belief of yourself, not of their belief. Because if you deal with theirs, then you become emotional. If you talk to them the way you know yourself, there's no issue because you can easily school them and stay completely calm. And
yeah, you can take control of the situation by showing compassion, not stooping to their level, proving their mentality wrong without a gotcha moment. You know what I mean? You don't have to get somebody. You can just be kind to that person. This person's heart is full of hate. If you see a person's heart, and their heart is full of hate, try to fill that heart with some love. You don't know what brought them
logic.
Or logic. But you can fill it with logic and show compassion at the same time. You could prove their mentality wrong.
To your emotions.
Exactly.
The same emotion they're feeding you. If you do that, whether you're upset with them or not, even if you don't feel like being courteous to them, as long as you don't engage in the same exact energy they're putting out to you, 98% of the time you're not going to have an issue. You're going to walk away from that. And I keep hearing, and I'm talking about older heads in the black world, Larry Elder, Thomas Sowell, say over and over and over and over and over to you do not get to make the situation worse by bringing emotion to the table. Instead, you do that, if they have already a preconceived notion about you, you've just made yourself an instant target. You take the ticket, you take the warning, and if you have an issue with it, you put it in court where you're alive and you can deal with it that way. Because the more cases we have alive of you not retaliating with this, and I tell my kids this all the time too. If I come to a school and the teacher calls me and the teacher says, well, I need you to come see because your son was in trouble. And I ask my kid and he said, well, and I tell him what happened. He's like, well, the teacher said this to me. And I say, so what did you do? And he's gone silent. I instantly tell him, see, now you've removed the ability for me to defend you. Because now you've given the teacher a reason to be the way they are. And I can't fully say it was without reason because you are a complete tool. If you had not done that, I would have been completely in the right to lace the teacher up one side and rip the laces out the other. But I can't do that now because you've taken away my arsenal by your behavior. Now, if you were to take the teacher's actions and just say, okay, and take it, then go to the principal, now you have the teacher over a barrel. You win. Now you can actually cycle out for another teacher. The same thing with the police. If I know for a fact I did nothing wrong, then my reaction should not be adverse. I should be the calmest person on God's green earth, just super calm, laid back. All right, okay, cool. Can I have the ticket now? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mind if I have your badge number? I just need it. It's on here? Perfect. Thank you so much. And your name? Oh, that's on here too? Thank you so very much. The next day, you take your behind down to the precinct and you put in your report. It is that simple. Folks don't want to do that. They want the encounter because they have to prove themselves emotionally right. If I can get through the heads of, and I mean white, black, or Hispanic, of people, your emotional reaction to things does not make things better. It makes it worse. If you take a factual approach to something, it cannot be altered. You cannot do it. You cannot say, well, I might have had, no, you have one fixed outcome with fact. One. Because there's no two facts. It's just fact. Your reaction to me and my reaction to you is one way. That's factual, how you reacted to me. I don't care what your reasons were, you acted that way. Your actions are factual. That's what we're going to look at. I don't care how hard of a day you had or didn't have. So when we start to, like I keep saying, internalizing stuff and realizing that my identity does not come from people, it doesn't come from a situation, it doesn't come from someone else's view of me. It comes from my view of me, which is why I encourage people to know themselves. If you don't know yourself, you will always be reacting based on the circumstance, and you can't do that. It'll get you into more trouble than it will get you out of. The Kyle situation, it was reactionary. He did what he was trained to do, and he didn't do it out of emotion by getting up and then firing at everybody that chased him, because he probably knows himself. See,
the way that kid handled himself was amazing. He didn't, like, I hate to say it, but I commend him as well. Man. Hey, man, real quick, I want you to keep rolling on this conversation. I have the bladder of a 3-year-old child. I'm going to use the restroom. Just keep on talking to him.
2 hours. You made it 2 hours.
Keep talking to him, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, so as I was telling him, this whole issue with the divide that we have today, guys, it comes down to personal responsibility. It comes down to personal knowledge of yourself and how you handle it. The more people start dealing with a fickle thing like emotion that can change in 5 seconds, the more issues you encounter in the world. Rashad Brooks was the name I was trying to think of, the guy that got shot at Wendy's. You know, they found him passed out drunk. Logically, he's not thinking things through, but he was thinking enough to realize that if he went to jail, he'd be in a lot of trouble. So logically, he was there. But his logic was, I don't want to be in any more trouble. Not, well, I screwed up, so I better get things right, figure it out, go to jail, get it done with, and make myself better. No. His decision was to, I'm going to get out of this one way or another. And he got out of it. He's no longer in that situation. As a people, we have lost our ability to reason. And it starts small. I tell my little one, if he's encountering a problem, and he gets emotional and he starts to scream and cry, I tell him, hey, breathe. And he stops and he takes his deep breath. And I say, another one. He takes another one. And until he stops crying, I don't make him stop breathing. And then he tells me, what's the problem? And he articulates it. So now he's pinpointed the problem, not what he perceives as the problem because of his emotion. So now he's figured out the problem. So I said, what you going to do? He's 5. I've been doing it to him since he was 3 years old. He's 5. I said, so now what you going to do? I need help. Perfect. So now we've established the issue. We've established you don't deal with it in your emotional state. Now you can decide whether you need help or if it's something you can fix for yourself. If more humans did that, the amount of problems we would solve on this earth would be exponential. But we don't, because we've given into this notion. Emotions win. The media pushes it. The world pushes it. Movies push it. We can't allow ourselves to get snookered into this thing anymore. They're trying to pull us into it.
So can I bring up something? How old did you say you were again?
I'm 43.
You're 43. You're a very wise dude.
I've lived a long life for 43, though.
Man, I hear you, man. I hear you. And it's folks like you and folks like me that I wouldn't consider myself like a wisdom guru, but I'm much more wise than some punk 20-year-old kid full of piss and vinegar, right? It took you, I don't know how long it took you for you to wise up and to think the way that you do, but the way that you think is borderline flawless. Like 100% I agree with everything that you've said during this podcast. Here I go again. I'm going back to it again.
Advocate.
No, not devil's advocate. What I'm saying is, like, I agree with you 100% on a lot of things, and I'm not perfect. I am emotionally driven sometimes, and I think everybody is. It's part of who we are. But at the same time, I would not be the person I am right now with the mentality that I have right now if it wasn't for that 15-minute DMT session.
Right.
Like the process it took you 43 years to get to this very place during this podcast right now. Now, I don't know when you finally woke up, and I'm not fully awoken.
I had my DMT moment without the DMT. Let's just put it that way.
I basically tripped and fell on something that just changed my perspective. Well, subconsciously, I was always this person, right? But it allowed me to see my true self. Like, if you ever get to meet my moderators or talk to anybody, I always end every podcast with, we can make America great again by one act of kindness at a time. One person a day. One person, pick a random person, just be kind, right? You never know what people are going through. You never know what somebody's going through or the impact that you can have on a person's life and the path that they take in their life just by being kind, generous, and being good. Just be generally good to people, right? Now, I've had that mentality all of my 30s. Absolutely, since I was 30 years old, I've had that kind of mentality. And I've always acted on that mentality from the age of, 30 to 37 I am now. I've acted on mentality. I am the change I seek. The things that I say, I'm not just telling people to do them, I do them. But there was a bunch of stuff in my subconscious that were there. There was battles and wars going on that I couldn't see that were shown to me from my session, from my experience. And I am absolutely 100% not the same person I was. I used to get emotionally engaged in a lot of shit, especially on Twitch. I've done it on Twitch, yelling at people, calling people fucking names, getting emotionally aroused. But now there's something that goes on in my there's a process that goes on before I react, and I fail. I still fail. I still get emotionally engaged, but I'm definitely not that guy I was 8 months ago, to where now when somebody says something, the first thing that usually goes into my mind is what brought this person to this place. Why was this just said to me? And the next words that come out of my mouth need to be something that are going to help the situation, not throw fucking gasoline on the fucking fire. And I imagine that I will be more improved by the time I'm 43, and the older I get, I'll get better and better and better. But man, hey, bro, you're a special dude, man. And I hope that you get a microphone, and I hope you start podcasting, because the world needs you, bro. The world needs somebody like a lot of the stuff you say is gonna offend people. People are gonna get hurt. People are gonna get mad. People are gonna get enraged. But even if a small percentage of our society that you can reach and truly reach their minds, like the things that you say can improve the way people look at things, man. And I really
don't get me wrong. I do let people have it that, like, today I had an altercation with a guy. I wouldn't call it an altercation. I did what I do. Say something that is inaccurate is what they'll do. Unprovable by fact. And you ask them, well, if you believe that, then show me factually why it is. And then they go into the emotional side and they just harp on what they believe over and over and over. In that situation, people like me, I'm a different brand of conservative. When I see somebody doing that, it tells me one big thing. They really don't have any information, and they're really just trying to get you out of your zone and to get you to engage in something where you start to lose your cool. Me, I'm different. Oh, I'll lose my cool, but not in the way they think. I will flip the tables and I will just go at them the same way they come at me. I'll go at fact based on what I see. So I'll say like, oh, the grammar's off. I'll just go after the grammar first. And this is what I did. I went after his grammar first. And then he started coming at me. And
you said, grammar Nazi.
Yeah. And he's like, you're going to go after my grammar? I was like, well, if you're going to make sense in your argument, I would hope that you could make it where I could read it. If I could read it, then at least I could understand your viewpoint. But if you're too dumb to write it, then how can I agree with you? Then he came back again. Oh, I've served in the army. I said, blah, blah. I said, well, obviously it didn't take root because you still don't love your country. I'm surprised that I definitely wouldn't trust myself to your care to sacrifice yourself for me. Well, you never served. That's like, I didn't brag about serving. I'm just telling you, I wouldn't trust you to serve in the army. And so for me, I just go and play their game. Now I've drugged them out of where they wanted to put me and put themselves where they wanted me to be. So now he has two choices. He can either stop with the crap and give me the facts that I want, that helps level the situation and we can actually talk, or he can leave. And that's usually what they do because they really have nothing. So they leave.
Man.
Actually, one or two of them will come back and they'll be like, all right, so I found some information, and then we could have a conversation based on what you're presenting, what I'm presenting, and the truth. But as for me, I'm not shying away from calling people names. Oh, hell no, I will light you up one side and right back down the next, and I could go on for hours lambasting you.
I'm guilty.
I did it to an older lady. I did it to an old lady on a podcast. She called in and she was an absolute idiot. I mean, absolute fool. And the other guy, he was all kind and calm, and I was just waiting because I was ready to light her up, and I went in, and she was screaming mad. I'm not gonna respect. You didn't earn my respect. In fact, you gave every reason for me to call you an absolute buffoon. And I went in on her, but I didn't feel bad because you presented me with a version of you that I have to judge. I saw a clown, so I'm going to call you what I see. You have the right to do the same for me, but you know what I can do? I can degauss your argument by making you see facts. If they can't do it,
you know,
it's not on me.
You know what I'm kind of famous for on social media is starting a complete dumpster fire and not replying to one comment.
And running off.
Look, you know, our brains, we only have so much bandwidth, right? So like, you know, I think everybody uses their social media to get shit off their chest every once in a while. And really, I don't want to engage and argue or debate or want any discourse. This is how I feel. Throw my middle finger up in the air, and my phone is just a ding, da ding, da ding. People are in the comments fucking going to war with each other. I've been tagged 200 fucking times, and I'm just like, I'm just watching TV. I'm just watching TV.
I think we need to have an actual official beer together. I think we could solve a lot of the world's problems. I think that's what could happen. So,
man, I think that you could reach out and touch people's hearts, man. I think that you're going to light some fires. You're going to hurt some feelings. But at the end of the day, man, I really think that you need to start your own podcast. And if the internet is an issue, that's not a problem. I actually thought about not going live tonight and just recording this podcast because we could have said whatever the fuck we wanted to if I was just uploading it to YouTube. Right? There's no rules. I mean, there's rules on YouTube, but we could have cut up. And really, that's how a lot of my podcasts go. I'm not live. I'm just hanging out with some buddies. We're all split screen, drinking, whatever the fuck we're doing, bullshitting. And to me, man, that's the best fucking content. on Twitch, kind of got your hands tied behind your back. You have to kind of walk, tread lightly. Like there's
go through the tulips.
This is the thing. There's a couple of times where you were borderline breaking TOS. I don't care. I let you go because in reality you weren't saying anything that's false. You weren't saying anything that's inappropriate.
I was just saying what I was called. I didn't call
No. I wasn't even talking about that moment. I'm talking about the moment where your back is up against the wall and stuff. I was like, oh fuck, what's he gonna say?
No, I can say that because I'm black. You have to understand. We can say that.
I can't.
No, you can't. I sure can. So next time, what you do is you text me the stuff that you want to say, and I'll say it. That's how you solve that problem.
Marlon Browne, my ammunition and my Glock 17.
Dude, no. I'm more like a Hauser, okay? Mounted. It's rapid fire with me. Rapid fire.
A 50 cal technical.
There you go.
Man, I tell you, hey, like seriously, you should look at monetizing your video. You should get you a microphone. You should get you a decent camera. And if internet is an issue, just don't go live. Go live where you got a good signal on your phone or whatever. Do your live thing. Don't stop doing that. But damn, Yepper popped in with some bits for the YouTube people. Bits are money. What's up, Yepper? Appreciate you, bro. All right. So basically what I'm saying, man, is like the world needs more voices like ours, needs more voices like you. Man, you talk good. You're not foul. You're motivational. Man, you've touched my heart. I love the way you talk. Your video, bro, the ball's on you. I could have never have said that.
They exist. I just know that.
I could have never ever have recorded myself saying the things that you did. And when you I seen the video and immediately I was in your inbox. I was like, hey bro, I want to talk to you.
There are a lot of people like that. And I hesitated to reply to a lot of them because one or two of them were, I could tell that they were more on the side of the white power idea of retaliation and not of I'm fed up patriot kind of idea. And I can kind of weasel through some of how they state things, So
how far down my news feed did you scroll before you decided, yeah, I'll reply to this guy?
Oh, only the first few things that you posted. I mean, you can easily tell. The just your profile picture alone was enough to, all right, I can. Because some of them, you can see that they limit what they put up, and what they do put up is instantaneous and controversial. And what they initially say to me usually gives me pause. But I don't brag about it, but I do have a knack for hearing a certain tone in people's approach, knowing whether or not what they intend for me is ill or good. But I also know myself enough that I don't get suckered into stupid situations. I can get myself out of it pretty good. And I do commend life for teaching me that, because it wasn't something I was born with.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, man. I send people messages all the time where I want to bring them on as a guest and have a conversation with them. And it's usually the ones that I expect to reply that don't reply. And in your case, like, I didn't expect you to reply to me. Like, your video was already all over mainstream media. Like, I as soon as I seen the video, I Google searched. I wanted to see, like, I didn't want to be a fool, right? All right, let's see. I didn't know how old the video was. I didn't want to waste my time. I did a little Google search. I was like, oh, fuck. So this is pretty fresh. Maybe there's a chance. I was just like shooting in the dark. Didn't know if you were going to reply to me or not. I'm glad you did, man. And I would definitely.
I replied to everyone. I replied to everyone.
I will definitely.
Every single person.
I definitely want to do this again. I definitely want to hook you up with the Vape Shop Patriot and get him to help you with monetizing that video. You got some money coming your way. Don't be.
So I could use some money. We can use me some money now.
We can all use some money, but don't be fooled, man. When you have a video that hits millions of views on Facebook, you've generated a lot of revenue with your content. With your content, your voice, your face, your video. That is your property. To the extent, I know you agree to the terms of service on Facebook and you lose some of that property. But yeah, man, millions of views. You got, I don't know what the amount is. It's probably not. It's probably not rich money, but it's definitely, you definitely got some money coming towards you.
It's money at least.
It can definitely kickstart your podcast, man. Get you some headphones, a good microphone, good camera, and just start uploading videos to YouTube, and then share your YouTube videos to funnel people to your YouTube. Like, don't make the mistake.
Since that video, I went from 3 subscribers, which was myself, my wife, and I think my other channel, to 512 today. So.
Yeah, see, that's good. So you got a 512 person reach just on YouTube. Now, your reach is obviously, I guarantee your reach is improved on your Facebook, too. How many friends requests did you, like 1,000?
No. Two at this point is 2,000 by now.
Yeah. Like, same thing with me with my viral video. I went from having like 500 friends on my friends list to where I'm almost maxed out at 5,000 now. On my backup account.
Yeah.
On my backup account.
And all of them are people, not bots. So like I said, every message I got from people since that video started, every message I got, I talked to or I weeded out. I didn't ignore people when they asked for friendship.
Well, eventually
I exchanged my phone numbers with just about 12 people now.
Eventually, well, be careful about that. Be careful about doxing yourself.
Right. That part I don't get. But I mean,
ride this momentum
for a long time.
What I'm saying is ride this momentum. Right now, while you have momentum, you need to look into getting your payout from fucking Facebook, getting your podcast set up. It's not bad. It's not even going to spend $1,000. You're going to get a C922 camera, $80. You're going to buy a microphone, a preamp, and an interface, and then boom, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about the internet. You're going to use an app to record your podcast, whatever you're going to say, boom, upload it to YouTube, and you're going to funnel people to your YouTube. If you decide to go live, when people want to ask questions, funnel them to your social media. Like, oh, you want to ask me a question? Go follow me on Twitter and ask me on Twitter. And start using your content to build your footprint on the internet. And if you got any questions, man, I 100% support you, man. 100%. And I can't really help you on YouTube. I can help you with your audio.
Yeah.
I can definitely help with your audio.
Help you can offer. I'll take whatever help you can, man. Send it up. We'll talk. We'll talk about how to do it.
Well, man, I think we pretty much didn't cover anything we talked about covering. I
think what we did cover, though, we did cover a lot of the core issues of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
About, like I said, those are not the things we were going to talk about. Were all superficial symptoms. We talked about more of what core is. I think that was more.
Yeah, what we did was we just had a conversation and ignored the fact that people were coming in and watching this while we were doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to upload this. I'll upload this to YouTube, and I'll shoot you over a link as soon as I get it uploaded. Your camera and your video have been great for the past 30, 45 minutes. It was pretty bad. A lot of lagging and stuff. Your audio came through pretty strong, 90% of the podcast. The video was pretty much sketchy all the way up until during prime time. It was sketchy. Now it's getting closer to 9 o'clock. Probably getting a little later over there. It's been pretty good. But yeah, man, this has been a good conversation, man, and I really appreciate you coming on. And I hope you do it again, man. I'd like to have another conversation.
You let me know when.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Also, if you're involved in other podcasts and you need a teammate, I'm more than welcome to join. I join other people's podcasts too. Just let me know.
I do have one that I think he would be. He doesn't do the F-bomb, so if you can maintain that, then you're good.
I could definitely try. He'd probably kick me out 30 minutes in.
it's more of a Q&A type situation where he'll tell you, okay, you can go ahead and answer now or stuff kind of thing. So you have some time to formulate your thought process. So you know, it's a little bit different than ours. It's not so free flowing.
Yeah, for anything free flowing like this, I'm just going to be myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
let him know. He'll reach out to you.
I don't think that I even heard you swear this whole time. You might have.
I don't.
Yeah.
I did the SH word once or twice.
Yeah, man. I can't. I think that your future in podcasting is going to be bright, man. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I think it's going to be great, man. I'm super glad that you reached out to me, man. Super humbled that.
Same here.
Oh man, I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy that wanted to talk to you. I was just interested in you.
Hey, I'm interested in everybody's point of view. I can't build a proper 3D version of something if I'm missing one of the D's. So
it's really humbling and a breath of fresh air to meet another patriot that I agree with 100%. Like, I have my views on things and I have my takes on things, but you had a rebuttal that I couldn't deny or disagree with every single time, which was quite refreshing, man, because on Twitch and YouTube and social media, it's so fucking toxic, and it's really, really hard to have this kind of discourse with somebody and it not be led to a toxic place.
Yeah. It can easily get there.
All right, man, I think we should break this down, man. We are 2 hours and 45 minutes in, and really enjoy this conversation, man. Stay in touch. Let's do this again. If you got some podcasts going, I will definitely return the favor and join, and I'll hook you up with the Vape Shop Patriot, and he can help you with your monetization of your Facebook videos and all that stuff. We can actually do that right after I end the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, guy. Just hold here. Hold here. I'll call you right back after the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and end it and say goodbye to everybody.
All right.
I'm gonna hit you.
Want me to hang up?
Yeah. I'll hang up and I'll hit you right back up here in a minute. Have a good one, bro.
Right.
Marlon Browne, baby. All right, guys. I know there's only 5 of you in here. Thank you for hanging out. I love you people. You are soldiers to sit here and listen to that long-ass conversation. I'm going to end it like I always do. 1 act of kindness a day. You never know what people were going through, what led them to that position in their lives. Just be nice to people. Try to have conversations like me and Marlon did. I love you. Have a good night. Peace.